What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff. I'm Andrea Renee, joined finally in studio by Miss Christine Steimer.
Hello.
And Miss Brittany Brombacher.
Hello.
You guys were back together again.
I know. I was like, this is the first time in quite a while we haven't had to do a sync clap.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You were like, wait, but the clap.
No, I legitimately almost. I was like, no, you don't need to do that.
It's been 4 months since Kind of Funny prom, which is unreal.
It's wild to think just how fast this year has gone.
Yeah.
And thinking that was the last time we were all together in the same city shooting the show. We obviously went to PAX West and had an amazing event there with Square Enix and Life is Strange, which, by the way, don't forget, we know we owe you a Life is Strange 2 spoiler cast. Yeah. We know.
Yes.
It's on the docket. Unfortunately, we've had some travel, and then a bunch of games have come out, and so I'm trying to think, ladies, if we should just hold that until episode 2 comes out and do it right before episode 2.
No, I think we should just do 1 and 2
together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just batch them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff that happened in the first, but not so much that we can't double it together.
Yeah,
That's
I think
a
at this
good
point
point.
we just wait.
Mm-hmm.
We could still do a Spidey one though.
I have to finish that.
I mean, I obviously not today. I just
I'm just saying.
I need to finish it
I'm
as
just
well.
saying, I gotta finish a lot of shit.
You guys, there's just so many games happening right now. It is absolutely incredible to be a gamer right now. We do have some housekeeping that I'll get to in just a second, but I want to thank our sponsors this week, MeUndies and 4 Sigmatic. So we're going to talk about MeUndies in just a little while, but I want to mention 4 Sigmatic. So Britt and Steimer actually talked to you guys about this company while I was in Italy, and the magic of functional mushrooms. So this is really kind of a fun read to do, just because we get to talk about magical mushrooms like reishi, chaga, cordyceps, and lion's mane, as well as other superfoods, of course, that help us live healthier and more enhanced lives. They make drinking mushrooms and superfoods delicious and easy to do with a variety of coffees and elixirs, which you can browse at 4sigmatic.com/WGG. All of their products are organic, vegan, gluten-free, and instant, but the bottom line is they believe life is better when we're hashtag on shrooms.
So cute.
Every day, all day. Don't put that away quite yet. Britt is, if you guys are watching us at youtube.com/whatsgoodgames, you can see the little energy shot I'm about to tell you about. But first, one of my favorites is the 100% Arabica organic coffee with lion's mane. It tastes like delicious coffee and does not taste like mushrooms, you guys, because that would be
none of this tastes like mushrooms, to be clear.
Yeah, it's super weird to think that you were drinking like actual mushroom coffee, but the mushrooms are just there for all of the amazing health benefits, like lion's mane, which encourages productivity by supporting focus, creativity, memory, concentration, and brain health. You can drink it at work, to study, or whenever your brain needs an energizing hug.
A hug.
I know, right? Like when you're gaming for long hours at a time, when you're going to be playing Red Dead Redemption 2, which we're also going to be talking about later. So, Britt, you are holding the energy shot, which packs a whopping 1,500 milligrams of lion's mane for complete focus. Wow. Plus, of course, a little kick of caffeine, just 40 milligrams, all in that 2.5 ounce shot that you can take with you on the go. And what fruit is on that bottle?
This is a pineapple, Andrea Renee.
Pineapple.
You may have heard one.
I have heard of pineapples because
They grow on the ground.
4 Sigmatic uses real food, Steimer.
They do.
Instead of artificial sweeteners and flavorings. Pineapple, lime, and salt are just a few of the ingredients in that energy shot. And did I mention that their entire catalog is vegan and gluten-free? I think I said something about that.
Well, now you have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you guys aren't coffee drinkers, or maybe some of the other offerings aren't piquing your interest, this is a brand new product. The what is the official name on there? The Mushroom Focus Shot from 4 Sigmatic. Again, if you guys want 15% off your first order, you can head to 4sigmatic.com/WGG to pick out your new favorites today. Of course, 4sigmatic.com/WGG. And get your focus on for 15% off your first order.
Oh, yeah.
Go get on shrooms.
Get on shrooms.
Hashtag on
For
shrooms.
the ones that are going to help you, not the other ones.
All right, so some housekeeping. As you guys may know, TwitchCon is happening right now as you're probably listening, unless you're listening to this right when it published, which good on you. Or maybe you're watching it live with our fantastic patrons, because every once in a while we decide to stream the show. You never know when that's going to happen. You just kind of got to be along for the ride. So a big shout out to everybody who's in the chat watching the show right now. If you guys are ever interested in participating in our Patreon, we would love for you to be part of our community over there. Patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. Just $1 gets you access to our exclusive feed with photos, with polls, with posts, and weird Brittany vlogs, which are really my favorite part.
Aw, yeah, there's some fun videos on there from back in the day. You get all these exclusive videos. Every exclusive video we've ever published, you get access to, and there are some weird ones on there that we probably would not do today, but we're gonna leave them on there for you.
They're up there now, though.
Yeah, they're not going away.
Exactly. So please do check it out if you guys are interested. But at TwitchCon, we are going to be making an appearance on the Spotlight stage at 2:15 p.m. Pacific time today, Friday, October 26th. If you're not going to be at TwitchCon, don't worry. You can watch it at twitch.tv/Twitch. Be sure to make sure to log in and watch us at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And then we're also the premiere episode of Twitch's brand new show, The Setup. That is streaming at 6 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/Twitch. And we're going to be doing a meet and greet. That's right, from 5 to 7 p.m. on October 26th. We're going to be meeting for cocktails. Maybe we'll get there at 4:30. Maybe we'll stay until 7:30. Who knows?
We don't even know. It's fine.
Honestly, we're really flying by the seat of our pants on this one. I'm not even going to front. We are meeting at the Farmers Union in downtown San Jose, just a few blocks from the San Jose Convention Center where TwitchCon is taking place. Please follow us on Twitter at whatsgood_games, and we will be tweeting out the details. You can also follow the three of us individually, and we'll be tweeting from there as well. If you're in San Jose and at TwitchCon and you're listening to the show, please come by. We'd love to see you. We'd love to say hi. Doing our meetups with you guys are some of our favorite things to do throughout the year, and getting to talk to you about what you're playing and how you found the show. All of those stories are super fun for us. So hopefully we get to say hi in person. It would be great. Plus, Brittany, we've got some amazing streams happening tomorrow, Saturday, October 27th.
My God.
Becky,
Look at her butt. Oh, we're going way off the rails. Steimer and I used to run the ship ourselves. Now we have some actual rules and regulations we got to follow.
I'll only keep you to the rules just slightly.
Okay, so I was stalling because I admittedly have to pull up the calendar to look at the exact times of everything. So yes, tomorrow, or not tomorrow, if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, it will be tomorrow. Saturday, October 27th at 12:30 p.m. If you are a patron of ours at any level, you can enjoy our happy hour Q&A live stream. We're going to be in costume.
Drinking candy corn martinis.
But yeah, it's going to be great. Steimer, do you know what you're wearing yet?
I have to show her my cornucopia of costumes, remember?
Oh, right. I was like, I'm just going to wear a onesie, but then I forgot.
Oh, yeah, you have to wear an actual onesie.
So,
yeah, I heard that conversation you ladies
Well,
had.
the onesie is a backup if nothing floats your boat, but I have, as I mentioned, a diverse selection.
Yes. It'll depend on when I get up to Saturday and how I will feel and how cozy I would like to be.
I'm decided between a Link romper that I have and I have a zombie cheerleader outfit.
Ooh,
Oh,
that sounds
cute.
fun.
Yeah, I have to choose between one of those. And then Saturday, October 27th, from 2:30 to 4, we are going to be doing a Lights Off stream. As you know, we've been releasing episodes of Lights Off every week, mostly on Wednesdays, sometimes on Tuesday and Wednesday, depending on how we were feeling that week. And we are going to be finalizing that with a Soma stream. And I'm very, very excited about this. I'm so excited. Have you played Soma before, any of you?
No. I mean, did you actually anticipate us saying yes to that?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you guys got a wild hair up your ass one week and decided to scare the shit out of you. Yeah, that is me. So I actually did try playing this. I did try playing this a while ago, and I tried to play baby ass baby mode where there was a cheat where the enemies would see you and maybe charge you, but they couldn't actually hurt you. But I inputted the cheat incorrectly, and they could kill me, and I didn't get much farther after that. It's kind of like Outlast, that you have to run and hide from these things.
No.
And the atmosphere building is so good.
I don't want it.
Oh, it's going to be great. I am
it.
so excited. I am so very excited for this.
I'm just going to sit there.
Crickets all around, ladies and gentlemen. That's okay. I'll be here playing for you. I'll feed these ladies alcohol.
Be excited.
They'll be fine.
And listen, we know that Red Dead Redemption 2 is out, and if you can't make the streams or you can't come to TwitchCon because you're like, I just have to go get my cowboy on, we get it. We understand. Don't worry. If you want to join us on Patreon, you'll be able to watch the happy hour Q&A, and for everybody, the Lights Off stream on archive. They will be available on both Twitch and YouTube. Well, the happy hour Q&A will only be available to patrons on YouTube, but
yes,
the other one will be available on both. Yes. Okay. Anything else, Britt?
Nay.
Don't forget to get your question ins for the happy hour Q&A at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. We will drop the link in there. We should make did we make a URL for that, Doc?
No.
We got to do that.
Yeah.
We'll work on that for you.
Yeah.
We'll work on it. We'll help you out, patrons. All right. I think that's it for housekeeping. Woohoo! It's time for news.
Are we doing Muppet voice?
Oh, the Muppets back.
We can do the whole show in Muppet voices. Okay, chip chip cheerio. No, maybe
you can't mix Muppets and British.
Why not? Don't discriminate against British Muppets.
It's a British Muppet.
I'm a British Muppet, Steimer. Oh, God. This is why. This is what happens when we're all together.
Oh, God.
Okay. That was fun.
So good.
Okay, so the first news story, and the news is a little light this week, which is actually pretty good because we have a lot of
news.
Yeah, we have a lot of hands-on to get to.
Yeah.
But we're gonna start with PSN IDs. But I just want to let you guys know, if you're anxiously awaiting the Red Dead Redemption 2 discussion, we're saving it for the third segment so we can put it at the end of the show for people who don't want spoilers. We have a couple other games to talk about in the second segment. But don't worry, we're gonna get there.
We're not
gonna
spoiling Red Dead Redemption.
No,
a
but
Redemption
we'll be
shirt.
talking
But
about a
you'll-
couple things that may
Yeah.
be considered spoilers for people, like
Sure.
location names and things like that. So if you want like a virgin Red Dead Redemption experience, you probably don't want to listen to the end of the podcast.
Don't listen to us.
Okay, here we go. Preview program for PS4 name change update comes with a long list of warnings.
Is it like when you see those commercials for drugs?
You
Like,
will die
and-
from taking this,
and
but
it's
we're
like,
going to show scenes.
this will fix your headache, but will also possibly kill you.
And they always show signs of scenic soothing out.
yeah,
People
like
walking
people
along
are
the
like
beach.
kayaking and shit.
This is almost
Death,
exactly
death,
like
death,
that. Yeah,
death.
Great. Love it.
So this write-up comes from Polygon. PSN ID changes are finally on the way for PlayStation 4 users, but it looks like the process might not be as painless as we hoped. According to several recent era users who have received invitations to the PlayStation Preview program, System Software 6.1. No,
You were
preview.
talking really fast.
A whole list of warnings accompanies the name change feature. One testing email, which appears to have only gone out to PlayStation customers in the United Kingdom thus far, was posted on the forum by a user, Abandoned Trolley. The initial message confirms that the upcoming patch will include a chance to change your PSN IDs. However, a follow-up post on that same thread quotes numerous caveats that the change comes with. The message starts by warning players not all games and applications for the PS4, PS3, PS Vita, and PlayStation systems support the online ID change feature. The warning
They said that
continues.
before.
Yes, they did, but the warning continues, Steimer.
Oh, no. What?
By listing possible consequences of changing your ID. You may lose access to content, including paid-for content that you have acquired for your games, including content like add-ons and virtual currency. You may lose your games within progress. You may lose your progress within games, including game save data, leaderboard data, and progress towards trophies. Part of your games and applications may not function properly, both online and offline. Your previous online ID may remain visible to you and other players in some spaces. The message also specifies some details that are, at least for now, specific only to the preview version of the ID change feature. First change is free for all users, so that's good. Second change will be charged at €9.99 or £7.99. PlayStation Plus subscribers will receive a 50% discount. If your previous online ID violates any of the terms of service, you will not be able to revert back to your previous online ID. You can revert to your previous online ID once per account during the preview period. Sub-accounts cannot utilize the change online ID feature, and after you change your online ID, it may take a few hours for some services and applications to reflect the new ID. That's honestly like the least of the worries
Wait,
here.
So even if you have so this doesn't fix if you have like a sub account and you can't make it a real account.
Correct. And what we've discovered earlier this week on Games Daily is somebody wrote in and was like, hey, I'm squatting on a name that I really want. Or am I going to be able to like cancel my first one and use that one? It's like, nay, you can't. Because if it's been used by anybody in the PlayStation ecosystem, it cannot be used by another account unless PlayStation completely deletes all of the account data from the PSN, which they're not going to do because you are allowed to revert back to your previous PSN ID. So when or if really they're ever going to delete that data, we don't know. So assume no, and that if you make an account, there is currently no functional way to merge accounts together.
Do you remember that time in our lives when all we wanted was the ability to change our PSN IDs?
I mean, I didn't care.
That was, I mean, sure.
I mean, I didn't care either because I liked my
mine.
ID, but I also went through a name change way back when. So I started with a different ID on PS3.
But you just did a hard.
I just abandoned it. I said
for the
goodbye.
wolves. Goodbye.
Goodbye trophies, goodbye everything, and I started fresh with a new ID, and I've been with that one ever since. But then again, trophies aren't important to me, so that's like the least of my worries. The thing that is important is obviously licenses that are attached to your PSN ID for games that you've purchased digitally, and this is why this conversation is more important in today's ecosystem than it would have been during the PS3 generation, because so much of your licenses are tied to your digital accounts, which are tied to your PSN ID. If you don't have the disc for your games, right? Yeah. This is one of the challenges of DLC, going to a digital only future.
Have discs unless it comes out as part of like a collector's thing.
I mean, and the idea that like virtual currency is at risk.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like the way that they outlined how it works, there's no way for it to know. There isn't a master ID string anywhere. Your name is your fucking account number.
Right.
Like, that's how they built it. They built it wrong.
They built it very wrong.
So them trying to fix it now is basically like, you just have to accept that this won't work as the way you want it to work because it's not how the system was engineered.
It's so interesting. I mean, I would imagine unless your name is like Big Wiener 42069 XXX, that it would probably just be in your best interest to just stay the fuck away from this whole system.
I think it was last week. I was like, unless your name is egregious, like really bad, you just, who cares? Like, just leave it to what it is. Move on with your life. There are other things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm really curious to see how this pans out, if this actually ends up working or if the whole plug is just pulled on it in the end. Like, sorry, we literally could not make this happen in a way that is sufficient enough. So we're just going to.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's there. You know, you accept the risk. Now we have told you it all. If you really want it that bad, there you go. Yeah. But like, otherwise, get off our backs because like we did the thing.
Just get off our backs.
like this is the best that we can do because what are they going to do? You can't fix it. You can't fix it at this stage.
If Sony with all their resources can't like make this a super duper easy fix, then you know it's a really messed up situation.
Well, I think what the real problem is that the way that they designed the backend architecture within the PSN network or the PlayStation network just kind of inevitably set up these systems that they all are reliant on a specific like workflow, and changing that workflow kind of dominoes and breaks the system.
Yes.
And they've been working on a way to fix that, which is why it's taken them so painfully long to get to this point where they're even talking about it being possible, that now they're like, hey, it's gonna work for the majority of like PlayStation 4 games, right? It's not going to work for some maybe edge case games, from some games maybe early in the generation, and then specifically
games that
more
aren't getting support anymore.
Right, games particularly from the PS3 generation that aren't being supported at all, that haven't been updated probably in several years. Those are the games that they're like, hey guys, we just don't know. We don't know if it's going to completely break this or not because they haven't been able to test every single game that's on the platform. Yes. And that's the scary part. And that's why it's like, I understand that this is clearly an umbrella statement that PlayStation is making, which they have to make legally. But at the same time, I'm like, one part of me is like, well, it can't possibly be that bad. If you're only playing new games that came out in the last 3 years, let's say, then you probably don't need to worry about this at all. Every game that's come out recently is going to be supported by this. What you do need to worry about is if you're worried about that one edge case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, they have to make this statement because can you imagine if they didn't and then someone changed their PSN ID and then one of these things happened, the Twitter sphere, the internet, it would become a huge viral chain and then it would just not be pretty.
I find it weird that they only sent that out in Europe.
There could have been a
North American one.
Yeah, because that's when I pulled the story when we first covered this. I also pulled the Europe one.
Yeah, that's true.
That's probably.
I would also hope that they would make sure that that is well communicated to every PlayStation customer.
Right.
And not just relying on the PlayStation blog to get that word out there. Because not everyone reads that, believe it or not.
I just want to give a huge shout out to all the beta testers out there. Thank you. You are taking one for the team because I would never in a million years try to mess with this. brick your console, give your console some disease.
It's true.
I don't
It's
want
not gonna
that.
brick your console.
It could. I don't know.
No, actually, I think Steimer's right here.
Listen, I'm trying to add some dramatic flair
I'm
here.
just saying.
That's-
Like,
okay, I
don't
appreciate
don't
that.
spread lies. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, you're lucky you're sitting across the studio from me, Steimer. I would jump over here and
All
wrangle your
right,
little
all
neck.
right, all right. Well, listen, take this information as,
Never.
no, I wouldn't say with a grain of
No,
salt.
I
I would
stopped
say
myself.
take it under careful consideration when deciding if you want to change your PSN ID. Like I mentioned, the actuality of these terrible things happening is small, but it's not non-existent. It's not zero chance of it happening. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put it out there. So weigh if your PSN ID is so bad that you need to change it before making the call.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a text
I was like,
message.
Let's
What
all learn a
ding?
lesson. Don't make bad names.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, think
Um,
about it.
Just think.
It's my sister texting me about this rosé wine flavored vodka that she just tried.
What?
So her husband, I'm sorry to derail, her
It's fine.
husband bought her this Hanger One vodka that's flavored like California rosé wine. And I was like, okay, I'm listening.
I'm interested.
I'm skeptical but listening. And I was like, how is it? And she's like, I don't know, I'll try it. She writes back, it's delicious.
Oh
Ooh.
shit!
Oh my gosh. I might have to go get some now.
Here, isn't
Head
it?
to the local liquor store.
Bevmo.
Isn't Hanger One here in Alameda?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I think it might
But
be.
they do make some very tasty flavored vodkas. All right, on to the next story. Microsoft has announced plans to expand Game Pass to PC. This write-up comes from Game Informer. During an earnings call today, earlier this week, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella discussed how the gaming landscape has improved for Microsoft and that the company plans to push forward and expand on that front. As such, Nadella confirmed plans to bring Microsoft's Game Pass service, currently only on Xbox One, to PC. As it functions on Xbox One, Game Pass, of course, provides a subscription pass to over
We're
100
talking
games.
really fast.
I know, because this is the part that's like just regular info.
You just sound like a
Like I'm doing the thing at the end of the commercial where I have to
No.
read the legal text.
or that
Where they
or
tell
an
where everyone's
auctioneer
gonna
is what
die.
I was thinking.
I apologize.
It's okay.
Earlier this year, Microsoft made the bold declaration that every first-party game would launch simultaneously on the service,
I like the soft
letting
voice.
players download and play titles on day one for the price of admission alone. While Nadella did not detail what a PC expansion would look like, an easy guess
Oh, God.
would
This
be
is too
a
slow. Pick it up,
Oh,
baby girl.
I love this now. It's so
would be a
funny.
similar service model using Microsoft's Windows Store. As part of the Microsoft Play Anywhere initiative, every first-party game is intended to release on PC as well as Xbox One, with digital versions being cross-compatible
I
in
thought you said
terms of
Digital virgins.
I mean, no. Digital versions. Okay. When considering that and also adding in PC exclusive titles like Age of Empires, the case for Game Pass on PC seems fairly logical. It's not known when Microsoft plans to move forward with these plans, but with first-party efforts revving up in 2019 with games like Crackdown 3 or Gears 5, the game we've heard nothing about that's never coming out, might make a strong argument to PC gamers to whom Microsoft has been relatively hot and cold with over the years.
You're hot, then you're cold. You're yes, then you're no. You're
Is this
in.
Russian?
What is this? Yeah. Britt, I missed you. So here's the thing. I mean, this is predictable, right? Like, this is not. This
I didn't
is not
actually
a bad
realize
thing.
it wasn't available on PC because I'm in my
Oh,
head.
really?
I'm just like, for Xbox, I consider those platforms so tied together.
Right.
Intertwined in their ways
Yeah,
and
that I think in
methods.
my head I just auto-filled it.
Well, there's so few games that Microsoft publishes first party that are PC only. Like, it's
Right.
like such a small like Venn diagram overlap. That's
Age
why
of
Age of Empires
Empires.
is. I mean, it's literally like Age of Empires.
like
but I
them,
guess they've
yeah.
got. Well, no, because the Halo RTS was also on console.
Yes, it was. I played it on
Um,
console.
I was
Halo
fun.
Wars.
Maybe somebody in the chat can let us know if there was a Microsoft first party published exclusive PC game that you can think of that did not come to Xbox One.
That's a lot of,
Besides Age of Empires. I don't think that there is at least one that I can think of in the last 3 to 5 years.
Not that
I can't even think of one.
Yeah, I'm not even pretending like I
Period.
can.
I
think of
mean,
you.
my brain wouldn't be able to do that right now anyway. So
Yeah. I bet you somewhere out there Somewhere out there.
There's an
Over.
Xbox exclusive for PC. Wait, no, not Xbox. Microsoft exclusive for PC.
Are you thinking of 5-0 right now? Because that's what I'm
Yes,
thinking.
yes.
Okay, good. I think
Yes.
Brittany's on a
I
different
know. I
wavelength.
was
Oh.
just thinking. I had no clue what the fuck was happening.
I'm like, of course I'm thinking of 5 What do you mean?
I'm just joining in.
An American Tale. Oh my
It's
gosh,
true.
it's such
I
a
know
good
Brittany
movie.
doesn't watch movies.
Yeah.
You
I'm
would actually
Surprised
really
we're
like this
friends
movie.
because, like, only because you don't understand 90% of my references.
Time to
No,
drink.
maybe. Okay, here's what I think has happened. Here's why this has happened. You were friends with me thinking that I'm very clever, and I'm not. All I'm doing
I
is
never thought
quoting
you were
movies
clever.
you have never seen. God damn.
Oh, you set me up for that. You totally set me up for that.
I mean, yeah, it's true. I did, but
Oh gosh. No, I think I have seen that. Is that the Western one? The Western Mouse?
yes.
Well, that's
Okay.
the second
That's
one.
Fievel Goes
That's Fievel
West.
Goes
Oh,
West.
okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
It's an American Tale.
Fievel
Is
and
the first
American
one.
Tale is where they come to America.
Yeah. They're the
No, I got those in America.
exactly.
That's so that's the Spanish version because we watched Fievel in Spanish class.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I don't know why, but that's the only part that stuck.
No, I had one of those moments where, in Red Dead Redemption 2, we'll talk about this, where everyone's singing around the campfire and you can press square to sing along, but oftentimes Arthur Morgan is so off key and he's not in sync. That's
He not
kind
the-
of what
he
I do.
not the best.
I just kind of mumble along and I press square to sing.
Nice.
But yeah, back to this news story because we are a video game podcast. Yeah, not surprising. Good move.
We're
Good
not a
job.
cartoon mouse podcast.
We are not.
We could be.
So there's still time, ladies and gentlemen, for us to make a segment dedicated only to cartoon mice.
I know we could probably do it.
Listen, Ratatouille,
Disney in general, Mickey Mouse,
the mice
Stuart
from
Little?
Cinderella.
Stuart Little. Yeah, there's a lot.
Pinky and the Brain? Oh, those
Oh,
are rats.
Pinky and the
Oh, no.
They count.
They count.
Yeah, they're rodents.
Yeah.
We can
Small rodent podcast.
Okay, back on the rails. Last news story of the segment. Jade Raymond leaves EA's Motive Studios. So this write-up comes from IGN. Motive Studios founder, Jade Raymond, has left the company, according to Electronic Arts. Samantha Ryan, who currently runs EA's Mobile, Maxis, and BioWare, will now oversee Motive Studios as well. A representative for EA told IGN in a statement, quote, EA Studios is focused on bringing more creative new games and content to players. Laura Meal and her team have taken several steps internally to better support our game makers in this pursuit, such as expanding Samantha Ryan's portfolio to lead additional studios, including Motive. Samantha is known for driving creative design and supporting game teams so they can bring visions to life. Okay, this
And he
is
talks
all
about-
about
yeah.
Samantha. She's great. Skipping forward with this change, Jade Raymond has decided to leave Electronic Arts. In her time with us, Jade has helped to build great teams, and our projects underway at Motive and other studios continue unchanged. We're appreciative of all of her efforts, and we wish Jade all of the best as she moves on to her next adventures. We are driving greater creativity into everything we do across EA Studios. Cool. Okay, so this is some interesting news. First, I think it's awesome that another female is taking Jade's spot because we need more females in leadership roles in game dev. So that's great.
Mhm.
That's good news. This having Jade leave is kind of a head scratcher because she was overseeing, I believe, the Star Wars project that Massive was working on, right?
I don't know what she was.
To
she was
the
working on.
internet.
I'm pretty sure she was. Motives Montreal currently has an open world game in the works. Or maybe I'm confusing her with...
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't sound right then.
Maybe I'm confusing her with the thing that Amy was working on.
Yeah, Amy was the one who was working on the Star Wars game that got canned.
Oh, the Visceral.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Here we
Yay.
go. The project, which does not have a title or release window, was pitched by 3 developers.
Oh, so it's super secret.
Okay, so Raymond founded EA Motive in 2015 after departing Ubisoft with the initial goal of focusing on new IP in close collaboration with BioWare. Its
New
first
IP.
project, however, was to work with Visceral and Amy Hennig's canceled Star Wars game.
Oh, see, maybe that's what...
yeah.
See, I thought that that's what she was working on.
Yeah. Okay.
But what's crazy, she hasn't issued a statement yet.
But I guess since they canceled that project, maybe she also was working on something else, which would make sense. But just as a history for people who maybe aren't familiar with who Jade Raymond is and why she's important, why we're talking about her. She was, of course, the founding member of Ubisoft Toronto. She left the company in 2014 after 10 years there. She was a producer on the original Assassin's Creed and later an executive producer for Assassin's Creed 2, along with Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, Blacklist, and Watch Dogs.
Man, it's been a long time since we got in a Splinter Cell.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was one of the rumored things we thought Ubisoft was going to talk about at E3 this year, and then they didn't.
That was a fun game. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely due for some Splinter Cell. And so then she left Ubisoft and founded EA's Motive Montreal and led development on the campaign for Star Wars Battlefront 2. That's what I'm thinking of. IGN heard this past July that Motive Montreal currently has an open world game in the works. So, she worked on Star Wars for EA. She was working on an open world game. What she's doing now, we don't know.
TBD.
It would be really interesting to see. Generally, you don't see studio leaders leave in the middle of a project unless the project maybe isn't going well. Do you think that that's what's happening here?
Jason Schreier, get on this bad boy.
Yeah, if there's anything happening, Jason Schreier will sniff it out.
Typically, if it's an amicable leave, they'll put out a statement saying, I'm excited to move forward and move on with new projects. I enjoyed my time here, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm excited, blah, blah. But she hasn't issued anything, at least as of right now, which is Thursday, the 25th of October.
Was this announced today?
Earlier this week.
Oh,
and there's still nothing?
Mm-mm.
Have we checked her socials? Does she have social
Let's
media?
look at. Well, I mean,
I've never actually followed her on any of these things, so I don't actually know.
I'm going to Google Jade Raymond statement right now.
oh heck, I'm gonna.
Oh, heck.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I got
All
nothing
right,
either.
well,
No statement.
No, so
and they didn't even put a thing in there from her, which usually you might do.
yeah,
Amy didn't make a statement when she left either.
we all knew that
But
situation.
that
was a shithole.
situation probably was not amicable.
That didn't seem super great.
No.
Yeah.
So if we're going off that, then this one also doesn't seem super great.
Yeah.
If that's our basis.
So now, why was there a reason she decided to?
Didn't say. I just said.
No, it says with this change, she has decided to leave EA.
With what change?
That's what I'm reading the statement again. EA Studios is focused on bringing more creative games. Okay, so EA Studios is focused on bringing more creative new games and content to players, and it talks about how Laura and her team have taken several steps internally to better support our game makers in this pursuit, such as expanding Samantha Ryan's portfolio to lead additional studios, including Motive. And then they talk about Samantha. She's a deeply experienced game maker.
They don't.
With this change, they don't actually mention
They're
what the change
talking around
is.
it, which
Yeah.
means something weird happened.
Yeah.
Something weird happened.
I mean, because those are the things that you craft when you're look at this.
Yeah, right.
Look over here. Look at these people and how
Yeah.
good they are.
Yeah. Huh.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
It's always the way it is with game dev. She has made several appearances. She regularly talks on panels and things like that. So I'm hoping that maybe we hear from her sometime soon or hear where she's going. She obviously has a very important place in this industry as a longtime industry vet who's worked on several amazing franchises. So
Her and Amy should get together.
I mean, a Jade and Amy game,
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
What if that's the plan?
That would be pretty cool. And
Oh my
that's why they
God.
wouldn't say anything, because they'd be like, fuck you.
What if Microsoft hires Amy and Jade to fund the run the next game at the
shit.
Initiative, their brand new studio?
That would be incredible.
Dude, slam dunk.
Dude.
Come on, Phil Spencer, you've got the money. I know you do.
You got this.
Dear
please.
Phil.
Dear Phil, comma. Sincerely.
Space.
What's good games?
New paragraph.
I don't know their working relationship or if they're friends, if they even know each other. But it would be cool. It'd be cool to think about what it could possibly be. But best of luck to Jade in her new adventures. And, if we hear anything or get a statement, we will, of course, relay it to you guys. There has been a few other minor news stories that have happened. We found out that there's been a couple of delays that are happening. Days Gone is being delayed until April 2019.
You don't say.
We found out that there was another delay. What was the other delay?
Artifact?
Artifact, Dota 2's card game is being delayed.
Do we know when?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't think so. Just a couple months, I think. Maybe we do know when.
No way.
Maybe I'm lying about
Google
not knowing
artifact
when.
delay.
Oh.
I do also just want to mention that we found out that Kingdom Rush Vengeance is launching for iOS and Android next month, which is
November.
very exciting.
Artifact is delayed until November.
Oh,
There
that's
you go.
Like right
And
around
what
the
I'm
corner.
very excited
Just around
about-
the river bend.
Gun Media and Bloober Team, Gun Media, as of Friday the 13th, folks, they have worked a publishing partnership with Bloober Team, who developed and made Layers of Fear. Bloober Team. That's like when I say pure blue octopus on our Turbo patrons every month. It's like my favorite thing to say. That they are publishing and doing all the marketing for Bloober Team for Layers of Fear 2, and I'm very, very, very excited about that. I'm very excited. Steimer's not so excited. She played that with me, and
The scariest part though was when Andrea jumped at us.
Oh yeah, that was right. You did do that. Was Layers of Fear.
Yeah, because the
Was
timing
it? I
was
thought it was
perfect.
during Slender.
No, that was
No.
Layers of Fear because
Okay.
like they have sounds like
Yeah.
as if this thing is crawling by this door and you're in like a room.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it sounds like it's getting closer, and then you opened the door, and I was like,
No, Layers of Fear 2 takes place on a ship. That's all we really know about it.
that sounds terrible.
That sounds wonderful. I'm so excited. And Steimer went gear.
No,
has
I'll
to
tell
play
you
it with
why
me.
later. I've had some really messed up dreams lately. One of them involves a boat,
Oh, okay. Maybe Andrea will play it with me.
so I'm noping.
I
out
will.
of that.
I will contemplate and get back to you. Get back to
need
you.
a scary game partner.
All right, everybody. That is going to do it for the news segment for this week. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we will be talking about what we've been playing. I have been putting off chatting about my time with Resident Evil 2 at Tokyo Game Show until Britt and I were together. I also got to play in the Fallout 76 beta. Is limited as my time with it was. I did get to play, so we'll be talking about that as well and some other stuff. So stick with us, everybody. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It's segment 2 of the What's Good Games podcast. And this time, we're talking about what we've been playing. Just like every time. And by every time, I mean every week.
The same thing we do every week, Pinky.
Try to take over the world. I got that reference.
Yeah, you did.
Come at me, bros.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this week's hands-on segment is brought to you by MeUndies. Now, you guys might have heard us talk about MeUndies previously on this show, or maybe on other podcasts with their really cool underwear and fun and crazy prints. But you guys, it wasn't until I actually tried them, even though Steimer tried really hard to convince me how great they were, that I realized, holy crap, these are seriously the most comfortable things I've ever worn.
Same.
Stay soft.
Same.
And now that fall is here, we are going nuts over their awesome Halloween prints. So if you guys aren't familiar with MeUndies, they make obviously underwear, but they also make some loungewear as well. They've got the really neat micromodal fabric, which is 3 times softer than regular cotton. We just can't stop talking about how soft these underwear are, and we really just need you guys to experience it for yourself to really understand what we're talking about. They, of course, have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, so if for some reason you aren't happy with your incredibly soft underwear, you will be able to, remedy that situation. But you guys are going to love these MeUndies. And we want you to know that they have jack-o'-lantern prints in right now. For Halloween. They've got undies, socks, and bralettes, And the bralettes are super comfortable as well, ladies.
Yes,
and they've also got a membership option if you guys are super into MeUndies. I've gotten John hooked on the boxer briefs. He loves them. So that's undies, lounge pants, and tees, all part of the membership.
I was just thinking, like, it's like a soft crotch hug.
It is.
It really is, actually.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, especially for us ladies, especially the bralettes and whatnot, you don't want to wear like Velcro on your boobs. You want to wear something that's soft and comfortable and like legit. It's just like soft side of Velcro, rough side of Velcro. What one will you pick?
It's true.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to get in on our great offer for first-time purchasers, when you purchase any MeUndies, you will get 15% off plus free shipping. Again, we need you to go to MeUndies.com/WGG, and you will get free shipping and 15% off your first pair of the most comfortable underwear you'll probably ever wear in your whole life.
It's true.
And they're really cute. The prints are really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mine
the
have
prints
dogs
are
all
fun.
over 'em.
And I like how you can match the bralettes to the underwear prints, which is also really nice.
Who am I impressing with this?
Yourself.
Myself.
Exactly.
That's the only person you need to worry about, Steimer.
MeUndies.com/WGG for 15% off your first pair, plus free shipping, and of course, that 100% satisfaction guarantee. You guys know that they're going to have some great holiday prints coming up, too.
Oh my God,
yeah.
I'm so
I'm just
excited.
anxiously
Last
awaiting.
year's winter ones were really cute.
I want Christmas lights.
They change them every year.
Yeah. All right. Enough about underwear. As comfortable as it is, time to talk about video games. So, Britt,
Yo.
I've been putting this off.
I'm so excited. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen.
So back at TGS in Tokyo, Capcom very graciously invited me to come by their media suite and play a solid 30 to 45 minutes of maybe it was even longer. Maybe it was like an hour of
Brittany's,
Resident Evil
about
2
to
remake,
suck the life out of you.
which is coming very soon. Britt, do you know the release date off the top of your head?
January 20...
9th? Is that it?
January 20 something. 26th? 23rd? 29th? 22nd?
25th.
Fuck, the one I didn't say.
somewhere in between those numbers.
25th. January 25th. Hey, Martha, welcome. So that game is coming out real soon. And the first time I played it at E3,
Right.
I was a little underwhelmed.
That's true.
You were like, this is a video game.
I was like, yeah. And I think the reason why I was a
What
little...
else was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, I was a little perturbed because it won Game of Show at E3. And I was like,
Right.
this shouldn't be Game of Show.
Old man yells at cloud.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. That was how I was feeling about it. So I wanted to spend some more time and kind of see what all the kids are drinking in this Kool-Aid, you know?
Ooh.
Give it a
the
little
T-virus. That's what we're drinking.
give it a little taste test and see what's up.
Wait, do they have like a T-virus tea? Because that'd be cute.
No, but they did have a T-virus energy drink for a while.
No.
I think. I may made that up. Anyway.
But they do have an $800 keyboard you can get.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, yeah. I forgot what type of switches those were.
It was It's like a old school
I
typewriter.
care about that. Okay.
It's an old school
It
typewriter.
was actually a typewriter.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
USB though, so you plug it in.
Yeah. I actually have thought. Anyway, sorry. No, not going to go down that rabbit hole.
So this time I got to play as Claire because in the first demo you play as Leon. And so I messaged Britt while she was on her cruise and was like, listen, I'm about to go to Japan. I'm going to play this game. Give me like a crash course on what I need to know before I play. And so she gave me this long thing about, it was actually really helpful.
Oh, good.
Some background story about where we're at in the game because I was really like confused about the Resident Evil storyline.
It's a really confusing storyline.
So the first demo, they meant it to be more slower paced, more exploratory, more like atmospheric. This one more focused on combat and how they've kind of revamped combat. And so I'm playing as Claire. And like they said it was a combat game and that there was going to be like a boss fight. And I was like, oh no.
Great.
I don't want to fight a gross evil thing. And so we're in, I can't remember exactly where it picks up, and it's probably better if I just keep it vague for spoiler reasons, but if you guys remember the game.
Yeah, if you remember Resident Evil 2, none of this is a surprise. You're in the Raccoon City Police Department.
Yes, that's true.
Who are you fighting, Brittany? Do you remember?
William Birkin, creator of the G-Virus.
But he does not look like a person.
No, he doesn't, because what... this is like, I'm like Alexa Ray of
I mean,
Kingdom
it's an
Hearts.
Yeah, no,
old
go
game.
ahead.
So there's a T-virus and then there's a G-virus, and Umbrella Corporation is working with William Birkin, but the problem is William Birkin is trying to cut a deal with, I think it's the U.S. government or something like that, in order to sell this G-virus, his latest and greatest work. Well, Umbrella Corporation gets wind of that, and they send a team there to essentially retrieve the virus, but also kill him in the process.
Wait, do they do the same thing? Do they do
No,
different
so
things?
T-virus is like the zombie virus that you
Right,
see.
so what's the
G-virus.
G-virus?
Think of like the big mutant crazy big weird ass abominations.
But why would you want more bad things in the
Because
world?
these are supposed to be bioweapons that would be used in our military supposedly in order
but
to.
they got out and now everybody
Exactly,
bad.
it did not go well. So Umbrella came to William Birkin like, "Hey, William Birkin, we're going to take this now," and he's like hell you will, and they shoot him and kill him. But they didn't know he had a vial in his hand when they killed him. So as he's dying, he injects himself, and then he slowly morphs into.
Why would you do that? I would just die.
Well, he literally died, but then he
You're
turned
asking
into...
so many questions, Steimer.
I know. I'm sorry.
No,
it's
you don't have
fine.
to be
No,
sorry.
that's what I love about you. So that's what happens. And so what Claire Redfield is doing is she is wandering around the Raccoon City Police Department. She finds Sherry Birkin, who is the daughter of William Birkin.
Oh, poor chick.
Yeah, and so William Birkin is always hunting down Sherry because in the G virus, the virus wants to replicate, but the virus can only successfully replicate with something that shares that DNA. So he's looking for his daughter in order
to kill her?
Inject her with, this can sound really bad, it's a weird game, inject her with the G virus, his G virus.
Ew.
Because then she's the only one who can process it and then also spread and grow into like another abomination. Otherwise, it'll just kill the host.
But then wouldn't...
I'm not trying to get too off the
If
weeds
that's
here.
true for her, then does it succeed down? So like if you were the last of your line, would it just die out?
I think there's a chance of it working for people who aren't within your DNA, but it's very, very low.
Okay.
So that's why he's like seeking her out.
Sure.
Pure primal instinct. Anyway, so that's the setting of all.
But
of this.
he's not aware. He's at this point, right? Like his brain is.
That's the assumption. We don't ever
Sure.
actually find that out, but I'm assuming because he's trying to.
So it's like a
essentially
big
kill his-
hulky zombie with an injector.
No. The virus, he injected himself. The virus is now in him, and now it's like it's the zombies. You know, a zombie bites on a human, it transfers the virus.
Okay, the way you were making it sound, I was like, does this man have a syringe?
Well, didn't he inject himself to keep the virus alive within his body?
That could have been the reason. Either that or he just wanted to survive and become like a superhuman bioweapon. But with the G virus, what he does is he spits out little parasites. It's not like a zombie where it travels through their saliva or blood.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, so that's the premise of Claire's story in Resident Evil 2.
The game looks great. It looks better than when I saw it at E3. And when I say looks, I'm talking about all of the lighting effects, the animations. It looks better because when I played it at E3, it felt like there was like a graphical difference between the animation for the character models and what we were seeing within the backgrounds of the environment. So it felt like there was like this weird like juxtaposition between like really high poly count on the characters and then like kind of like low counts on like some of the
interesting.
backgrounds. And so it looked, I'm gonna just say
off?
it didn't look good. Yeah.
No, that's really funny because in all the old Resident Evil games, it was all pre-rendered backgrounds that looked phenomenal, and the character models looked like shit.
So
that's how they had to do
maybe
they were like, let's flip it.
or like they just didn't do that much with the backgrounds, and then they did a
'cause
lot
they
with the
wanted
character
to do
models.
the characters first, and then we're like, we'll work on the backgrounds later.
Yeah, so it looks good. Looks better than when I saw it the first time. And it plays really great. So like they've moved the camera position a little bit in the remake from the original, and that really helps, particularly in the combat sections, to be able to like see a little bit. You still move fucking slow as molasses. Which
There's
is
no like slight.
well, I mean, you can like you can kind of hustle a little bit, but there's no like outright sprinting away from these abominations,
which
right?
makes no sense because you'd be going full speed if something weird was chasing you.
Well, and if you're gonna remake a game, like why not add in a sprint
Move
feature?
your ass.
You know,
Have a move your ass button.
but I know
Your
that it
ass
kind of
button.
takes away from like the atmospheric building and like the whole point.
Whatever,
of
make it
Resident
a
Evil.
mode.
No, listen, I'm with you.
I know.
I'm just trying
you
to
are.
hypothetically imagine why they wouldn't do this. But I was in this gun combat scene, so we're in like what looks like a machinery room where there's like a bunch of alleyways and things. You're basically running in a big circle.
It's like it's like a little mini boss arena, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
Every
so
time
you
I
can
see a
craft
thing like that, I'm always
like
boss.
acid grenades on the fly, which is inevitably how I took them down. But like, I almost ran out of ammo by the end of it, which is my least favorite part about survival horror games.
Same here. Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah,
What are you supposed
but
to
you
do when
loved
you
it
run out
though.
of ammo?
I
You
hate
like
it, but I love it.
smack them?
Well,
You die, I guess, and
melee?
do it over.
So I think I watched. It could have been IGN's demo of. I'm assuming what you played.
Right.
And actually, no, it wasn't IGN. It was the community manager for Street Fighter, I think, was playing it. And he found a whole bunch of ammo in like a nook at the end of the fight. And he's like, that would have been helpful earlier. So
Yeah, so I ran out of ammo right away because I was just bad at shooting this guy as it was approaching me because I was freaking out.
because you have to
Yeah.
shoot his
And
eye,
the-
which
and
is
the-
like on his arm.
And the
it's-
person helped me at the demo was like, hey, if you go over here, there's a cache of ammo. And I was like, thank you. God bless you. Because like she could tell that I was struggling and I wasn't there to try to, because I had 2 games I had to play because I was also playing Devil May Cry. And so I was like, listen, I have a limited amount of time. If I was playing by myself in my house, like it'd be fine for me to like figure that out on my own. But like,
I gotta go.
Help me. And so she showed me where the caches were, but it doesn't make it easier to get to them because it's still like chasing you very viciously.
Yeah.
Wait, so does it run fast and you run slow?
It chases after you, but it also jumps up, right? And then it randomly crashes down.
But let me see if I can pull up the gameplay because it's got this giant eye on it, and it's like
Eye of Sauron.
it's like really gross looking.
Oh,
Of course it
so
is.
good though, and it just fucking gets better and better the more the game's. So he's a big hulky thing, and so I don't think he. So the way the boss fight goes down is, you know, like Andrea said, there's all these little corridors and nooks and crannies, and you never know which angle he's gonna approach from. He does hop up on top, and then he'll drop down on you suddenly, like around you.
Hold on, let me get rid of this.
And
ad.
he does have a big eye that is like on his arm, and that's obviously his weak point, and that's the part you try to shoot.
So this is the thing that's like chasing you.
But it's hard to shoot that thing when it's running around. And here's the thing: is I'm gonna do real bad at this combat because you have to have precision to shoot the weak point, and I'm really, really bad at that. And my favorite way to play Resident Evil games was with
probably because the person playing this demo doesn't want him to get close enough to like so you can see it. But just know that he's like a mutated gross monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not that bad looking actually.
Just wait.
I mean,
Well,
I wouldn't
once he's
like-
up close and he's like trying to eat you.
And his face is like kind of there, kind of
there. You can see the big eye there.
From far away, it's okay. Up close, it's a big
Exactly.
old mess.
Yes.
So the gunplay felt good. The on the fly crafting felt good, painfully slow in some instances, but better than
Hey,
not
making
being
a
able to
grenade
craft on the
takes
fly,
time.
right? And I mean, I think I'm interested, but
Yay!
I'm gonna say I wasn't before the Claire demo. I was like, listen,
You just like her red jacket.
Leon's a cutie, that's fine,
Yeah.
but like I really don't care about this storyline. But like everything that happened with Claire and the other character in this demo, I was just like, all right,
That's
all
awesome.
right, I think I'm in.
Yay! Oh, that makes me so happy. I mean, I'm honestly pretty scared to play this game, and like, not like, oh, I'm scared. I'm a little like terrified to play this because it looks so fun. I mean, I've played the E3 demo twice now.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't, and that's just as Leon. I haven't played as Claire. But the way the zombies move, the fact that the zombies can come through the doors now.
Well,
It's like-
yeah,
how
so
to
the
open
idea that the
doors.
zombies can open the doors in this game, I was like, that's not fair, you motherfuckers.
It's-
Like,
I mean,
what's
that's
that
true.
about?
Not if you're not gonna let me speed up. You need
Yeah.
to you gotta pick a lane.
No, I totally agree. That's something that I don't like that about this is that the zombies can come through doors because
You
it's
can't
like
like fix the
never in
shitty
Resident
AI and make them way
Yeah.
better, but then not give you the ability
because
to get
like
away.
as a character, you know, you open the door, but the zombies just like run into it. And it's like boom, we're gonna open. And it's like nah, like I don't think
yeah.
because that was part of obviously in the old Resident Evil games, like transferring between like sections. You know, you would get the black screen and you'd see the door and it creak open, and that was the transition to the next game. And it's like okay, you know, if you go into a new section, that you're safe. I air quotes for those of you listening, safe. But the fact that they can bust through, I understand that makes it more intense for the survival horror aspect of it. But
Sure.
for my own sanity, like, where's the comic relief in this fucking game?
Yeah.
That's kind of like,
I think
You're
the
like, I
idea
kinda
is there
liked it
is
when it was a
none,
little
right?
shitty.
I guess, but damn, Gina. Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm happy you had a positive interaction with it.
Yeah, it was good. I still want like a baby mode.
Yeah, and I don't think this game has a difficulty. I think what it does is
Yeah,
it
I
adjusts.
don't think so.
Yeah, it adjusts your gameplay and your style. And if you suck, it'll
It's like you're real bad.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm kind of contemplating just getting eaten a lot in the beginning, so it'll put me on baby mode. But
Just be like, oh
So
wow,
you're
I
gonna
died
cheese
10
it.
times
cheese
in the
it.
beginning.
I'm into it.
Absolutely.
Please.
Listen, I love this game for the story and the lore, not for the fucking death all the time, not for dying and the gunplay.
Speaking of
Story
death,
of my life.
Speaking of death.
you've been playing
Speaking
Tomb
of death.
Raider.
Oh, that's a good transition.
good.
I'm into it.
Yeah, so I obviously wasn't here for last week. I was in Orlando. But before that, I had been playing the shit out of Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And I love this game so much. It might be my favorite installment in the series. And, oh my God, candy corn.
We're eating candy corn for everybody
And
listening.
so I haven't talked to you about this, Andrea, but Assassin's Creed Odyssey just isn't clicking with me for some reason.
Oh no!
I know. It makes me really sad. And I was telling Steimer, I don't know if it's because I feel like at the time I knew that Red Dead Code would be coming in soon. I still hadn't started Tomb Raider. I haven't finished Dragon Quest. I haven't finished Spider-Man. And the map of Assassin's Creed is just so daunting and huge and large, and that is what she said. And I don't know what it is, but I cannot get into any Assassin's Creed yet. I love the narrative. I love watching the story and watching where it's going, but as soon as I start playing it, I just kind of lose interest, and I don't know why that is. Yeah, it's really bizarre. So I started up Tomb Raider, and what I found about it that I loved, it was much more linear, obviously, and you know where you're going, you know what you're doing. It's more action-packed. There's much more dialogue and character interactions, and for me, that was what I think I was craving at the time. And we'll talk about this about Red Dead, but obviously Red Dead is also a very large game, but I'm not finding that I'm having the same issue that I had with Odyssey. So it could just be a setting thing, which is weird because I thought I would love Greece.
Yeah,
because it's beautiful. And I was talking during our Patreon pre-show live stream, Jason's playing Odyssey right next to me while I'm playing Red Dead, and I love watching him play. I'll like look over there and watch the cutscenes and see what he's doing. But once I have the controller in my hand, for some reason, I'm like, I don't know. It's really strange. Anyway, Tomb Raider, I really like it. I like where it's going. I like Lara Croft, even though she's kind of a flawed character in her own ways. But the game's really fun to play.
where are you at in that game? If you can tell me without being too spoilery.
I'm trying to even remember. I don't even know if I could tell you. I haven't played it in a few weeks. I don't remember. Wait, I'm 50%.
Okay.
I remember that.
Okay.
I remember leaving.
I think I have an idea of where you're at. But you're having fun.
Yeah, I love it. It's really fun, really entertaining. It's what you would expect, but to me, that's okay if that feels good. I think it'll end up on my top 5 to 7 personal game of the years because it's just really fun.
How do you have the sliders?
I have combat on, I think, easy because I'm a baby mode, but I have all the puzzles and exploration and stuff on normal. Does that sound right? Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like, I was telling Steimer this too. It's like, Tomb Raider isn't a hard game by any means, but it's just so much easier to put on baby mode and just kill everything and move through and experience the story. And that's just what I like about these games.
I can't remember if I ever talked about it. But I think that there was one part of the combat where I was like, this was weird. And it was the fact that and I feel like they've done this in the past ones too, maybe, but I don't remember. They introduce the enemy type with infrared goggles. And then there's one part where you just have to figure out how to get around them. And then immediately they negate it. And then immediately they're like, but you can do this and go and get around them. And I was like, why the fuck did you even put these in here? Why, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just found that weird because I was like, oh shit, it's gonna get harder now. This is gonna be a challenge to try and get around these guys because they can see you.
Oh, but I'm fine.
But then the next level, it was like, no, you really only had to kill those 2 dudes
at one time,
and then otherwise you were fine.
Yeah, but no, I really enjoy it. I like all the challenge tombs and collecting all the things I can. Tomb Raider is one of those games that I want to collect all of the things.
That's a game I definitely want to go back to when I have some time, in December or January. Because I'm like you, haven't finished Assassin's Creed, haven't finished Spider-Man, haven't finished Red Dead, obviously. I haven't even finished the content in Forsaken and Destiny.
God, take these away.
I re-deleted Destiny.
I can't stop.
Steimer,
I can't
stop. No, I just don't want to.
You telling me you want me to remove you from the clan?
Yeah, go for it.
That backfired.
My heart.
Legit, I was just as I was playing, I'm like, I just don't care about this game anymore, and I don't know why I keep trying for you, but I'm just there's just a point where I would rather spend my time another way.
That's fair. That's okay. That's fine. I get it. It's not for everybody.
No,
it's a commitment.
It is.
You're just not capable of committing.
You know what?
There it is. She wasn't gonna let that go. You talk bad about her destiny.
True.
Just kidding. I love you, Steimer. All right, let's talk about Fallout, huh?
Tell us how janky it was. So Fallout, interestingly,
it was pretty janky
because they put out. I say this because they put out a statement. We didn't cover it in the news, but they put out basically kind of like a weird press release. Not really a press release, but a community statement sort of a thing. That was like, we appreciate your patience. This is going to be broken. And to me, I was like, people were like, oh, GG, or not good game, but good guy. Bethesda, way to be upfront with people. And I was like, no, this annoys me. And this annoys me because you knew this was going to be the issue. And yet you gave it a hard release date and you only made your beta a month out. Which means you don't have a lot of time to fix things that might need fixing.
Yeah. For launch.
So that that annoyed me. Anyways, but tell us of your time.
No,
Because it was
timed. So
Yeah.
there are people who are rightfully upset that they pre-ordered the game with the anticipation of getting beta access specifically for their pre-order. Bethesda did not mention at all during their advertisement of the pre-order that it would be a limited timed pre-order and that you would only have specific hours of the day to play it. That
is hard because people have schedules.
It's a gigantic oversight. And quite frankly, there's nothing wrong with having a timed beta. There is something wrong with incentivizing people to purchase something with access to the beta and not giving details or limiting the beta in such a way. I really hope Bethesda doesn't do that again. That being said, I was able to get into the first session. Bethesda did provide me with a code to play in the beta, in the Fallout 76 beta, the Break It Early Test application. And my immediate reaction when I logged in, I made my character, I tweeted her, she's really cute, was like, wow, this looks almost exactly like Fallout 4. Now, wouldn't be a terrible thing if this was like Fallout 4 DLC, but I was hoping that there would be at least a little bit of difference.
Sure.
Or improvement in the art style or the way that the graphics look. That said, it doesn't look bad. It just looks exactly like Fallout 4.
Well, the architecture, of an online game, I wouldn't imagine they would necessarily be able to beef up the graphics too much to get it to run.
Well, they don't need to beef it up like
a lot.
You
just wanted a little zhuzh.
Yeah. Just a little zhuzh. I'm not expecting like a full open world game that, looks that accommodates, like an MMO does, all of these different players, but also looks, like an Assassin's Creed or a Red Dead or even, what's another big open world game that just came out? What am I thinking about? I remember booting this up going, oh, there's so many open world games right now. It'll come to me eventually. So load in, you start in the vault and you do this little tutorial section. The RPG system with the different categories is the same as in previous Fallouts, but the way that they assign points is a little different. So previously, in all Fallout games, when you make your character, you assign your points to the different categories for how you want your character to play. Yeah. Here, every category starts with 1 point, and there's a card system. Okay. So as you do missions, you earn cards and points, and then you can spec points into the different categories, but then you pick like a perk card to assign to that specific vertical of.
Does that also increase your point, or is it just is it just
yes.
Is it just
so
a point
it's
increase,
like
or is it a point
card
and a
is
perk?
1 point, and then each point that you unlocks access to different types of cards, I believe.
Okay.
I don't have it all figured out just yet.
Sure. It was only like a couple of hours, right?
Yeah, it was like I spent like 2.5, almost 3 hours in the game. Okay. So there's a lot of questions that I still have.
Sure.
The next session is on Saturday, but I believe we'll be in the middle of our stream. I kind of joked around on Twitter, I think, earlier that I was like, well, if we want a break from playing scary games, we want to jump into Fallout, we could. But
I would love that, but I know Brittany wouldn't.
Let me have my moment.
Well, I mean, after the scary stream.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Because
it's a palate cleanser.
Because I think it's from 5 to 7 p.m.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see it in action.
Pacific time.
I'd be down.
But
for
I have
that.
to double check.
Yeah.
Okay. So I get outside the vault and I'm going to look for the overseer of the vault. Sure. And I go into my first. I run into my first real life person right away. So when you pull up the map, everybody who's in the instance with you kind of shows up as a little dot on the map, and you can see them all moving around on the map, which is kind of cool. So you can see where everybody in the world is. And so I immediately emote. There's an emote wheel. And I was like, hey, friend, how's it going? And then they were like, let's be in a party. And I was like, sure, why the heck not? Let's do it. And then we just kind of walked around and like looked at stuff and picked up stuff. And I ran into my first like complaint.
Oh.
When we got to the first little hub section where there were like 3 different crafting tables, because in Fallout, when you are at the crafting table, there's an animation of your character like banging away at the table. Yep. You have to wait in line to use the crafting tables.
Oh.
Yes.
Now how many tables are there?
There's one of each type.
Area.
So there was one armor table, one weapon table, one chemistry table.
Like you'd have to find a table somewhere else that no one was using.
There was 2 campfires, so there was 2 crafting tables in the hub, but like that's still just 2 for like there were 7 people in the hub when I was there.
that's not typical for MMOs like that.
No, you
No.
can go interact with it regardless.
Yeah, I think
Basically, your character doesn't animate. You just kind of stand there, but
Right,
then the
right,
menu
right.
opens up
Yeah.
on your screen. And
So that's the first problem that I ran into, because when you're playing Fallout by yourself, it's kind of neat that you're standing at a bench.
Sure.
You know, your character's like
Hammering
banging away or whatever on whatever you're making. But in an area where you have to share the table, and so you're pretty much at the mercy of the people in the instance to get off the table when they're done crafting.
right. Or what if someone's like, "Oh shit, someone called me for dinner, and I'm still at the crafting table,
Yeah,
and I
I
leave,
can't imagine
and
they
I'm
would
just
keep
there."
that.
Yeah, they need to. That's
Yeah.
a must fix.
Yeah, so that's like the first like,
Sure.
hey, this sucks. This is an immediate pain point that was not fun.
Right.
And so I ended up just leaving because I and the problem was like one of the first quests is you have to craft a piece of light armor or whatever.
Oh my god. So they're gonna send everybody to these crafting tables.
Yes, and then you have to fucking get
And
in
then
line.
they- oh,
It's like take
no.
over.
So wait, is the line like an actual line?
Well,
or
no,
does it key you up?
Oh no, like
so-
it's
so
a free,
whoever gets
it's
there
a free
first.
for all. It's a free for all for whoever, because you just
Okay,
gotta stand
yeah,
next to them.
That definitely won't stand.
And I didn't get into proximity chat because that's just not my thing.
No.
But I've read a bunch of terrible stories about people in proximity chat as well. I had it turned off so I couldn't hear
Smart,
it.
smart.
But so I'm out in the world, and it is
Have
definitely
you abandoned the party at this point?
yeah. No,
Okay.
I left
Okay.
those. I left those guys. I was like, hey, because he invited somebody else to join, and I was just like, listen, like I just need to like go do these missions by myself for a little while.
yeah.
Because I'm not used to playing Fallout with anybody. I don't
Right.
play Bethesda games with people. You know, like they're very
does? Yeah.
solo experiences. And so I was like, I just want to kind of wander around and listen to holotapes. Oh my gosh, there are so many holotapes. I don't know why there's so many holotapes to pick
Everyone
up in the
made
beginning of the
'em.
game.
Everyone.
So is that how they tell the story?
Yeah, so generally what you do is, you know, you'll pick up a tape and then it'll play while you're walking around the world, and it'll give you some
Right.
context as to like some of the side quests that you're doing. The radio stations return, tuning the radio frequencies return. I mean, it feels a lot like Fallout 4. So far I haven't gotten far enough in the narrative. I only made it to like level 5 or 6 before I dipped out of the beta to go back to playing Red Dead, but the guns feel identical. You can still change from first person to third person, which is, you know, a nice thing that Bethesda does. You can, the thing I did
Can you
really
use
like,
VATS on other people?
I haven't tried using VATS on other players. You unlock PvP once you get to level 5. So I didn't tool around with any of the online settings to see what you can and can't turn on and off as far as to like who can kill you in certain instances of the world.
Sure.
But I tried to just stay away from people because I didn't want to fight anybody. So instead I was just running into super mutants everywhere. In which case it's kind of nice to run into people because then they help you fight the super mutants. But
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
exactly. One thing I really like that they did that I want more RPGs to do is they allowed you to have different character skins, different outfits, but the armor you had equipped was invisible. So like in previous Fallout games, your armor is left piece, right piece, arms and legs. So you're wearing, you know, 5 to 6 pieces of armor depending on what you're wearing. And so that can get kind of bulky and ugly depending on like if I'm wearing like a light leather piece here and like maybe I'm wearing, you know, like a power suit piece on my other arm or whatever.
Sure.
It looks weird. But what they allow you to do is like wear a complete outfit and it covers all the armor. You don't see the armor. But you
Yes.
still get all
Okay.
of the benefits from
That
the
is
armor.
good. Yeah.
So
I
that's
want to
cool.
look how I want to look.
Yeah. So they like even had in the on screen, they're like, well, walk around the wasteland in style by hiding your armor. And I was like, okay, that's great. I love that.
We know it's ugly. Here you go.
Well, it's at least ugly in the beginning, right? Like,
Oh,
yeah,
totally. I mean,
'cause you're
I would
just
argue it's
equipping-
ugly all the time because it's usually scrap. Like,
Right.
It's Fallout. Like,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and in
I'm
most
with you.
RPGs, you're just equipping the best piece of gear, and you just look like a mismatched
oh
fool.
my god, I
Yeah.
still remember my metal hot pants in WoW. It was so
Oh,
weird.
dude. Yeah.
It was basically chain metal,
Chain.
like booty shorts.
that sounds
That
right.
was better than the
Full plate
other
armor.
full plate armor that I had.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Like these must be some sort of weird magical enchantment.
Video games.
Yeah.
So I
Did you run into any technical hiccups?
Oh yes. Right. From the moment I got out into the wasteland, out of the vault, the backgrounds popped in and out as I was moving. So as I would
Constantly?
yes. So as I would run forward, the background would pop in
Is that
as I was running
disorienting?
forward. A little bit. The draw distance where it was popping in was pretty far,
Okay.
but still, like, it was incredibly noticeable. Obviously, some of the normal
Like,
things
you
you would
okay there,
experience.
buddy? You okay there, Mountain? You still
Yeah.
there?
So that's some rubber banding, which I expected. Some, items of the world popping in and out, me like glitching through certain things in the world. All things that I was anticipating seeing, not only in a beta, but just in a Bethesda game.
Yeah, there you go.
And so it didn't bother me too much. Obviously, they need to fix these issues before launch because you expect them in a beta. You don't expect them in a polished, finished game.
They only got a month.
That's the thing I'm concerned about. I feel
This is
like
what I
this is
said
going
at
to
the
be a
beginning.
big work in progress. And I was talking online with somebody about this and how they very, astutely mentioned that when Elder Scrolls Online launched, it was kind of garbage for like the first year to 2 years. And then it wasn't until like year 2 or year 3 that it really got good and really started providing an experience from a Bethesda game studio game that fans, particularly Elder Scrolls fans, were looking for. And so I'm hoping that it doesn't take that long for Fallout
Like, 'cause
76 to get their act together, but
Problem is, like, the Elder Scrolls peaked at the beginning when it wasn't very good in terms of player base, right? Like, I imagine their player
No.
base now is not bigger than it was before.
they have a very healthy player base.
No, they
right
have
now.
a hell. I'm not arguing that they don't.
You
I'm
mean just in
saying,
sheer numbers?
Yes. I'm just saying, just statistically, your numbers are higher when you first launch a game versus later. Even if you don't drop off that much, it's very, I think it's probably pretty rare. It'll be like,
normally, but for live service games, it's hard to tell because I look at a game like Rainbow Six Siege that had a fantastic launch, but actually grew quite substantially in like year 2, year 3. I think we're in year 4 now.
I don't even think about that game. So yeah, it's not.
I mean, but like
That game's not on my purview.
right. I'm just comparing it to another games
No,
of
I know.
service,
Yeah.
right? And like clearly, Fallout 76 is being set up as a games of service for Bethesda, like something that they want to continue to, add
would hope
content
so.
to and things like that. But
Unless
it's-
everybody nukes everything, because right there.
yeah, there are. So I don't know how any of that works.
Yeah, no,
right?
because you were pretty early.
Yeah.
on.
So we're gonna have another session this weekend, and I'm guessing we're gonna get some more.
I wonder what they would do in that. Like, what would you do? Because like, if people are setting off nukes in this world, theoretically that means everyone's dead,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't survive that. You don't survive the radiation for sure. So if people like set off enough, like what happens? Like I've never
Yeah.
played an online game where it's like, by the way, here are the keys to basically turning off this game at
Yeah.
some point,
I
right?
mean,
Like just
yeah.
because it wouldn't make any sense.
Well,
if-
maybe that's why they had to make the map 4 times bigger, so that the large swaths of the map can just be
maybe.
wiped out by nuclear
They were
fallout.
like,
That
hey,
would
at
suck.
least-
Yeah.
Permadeath? Yeah, no.
yeah, I don't know how it's all gonna work. The big takeaway I've seen from a lot of people online is like, yes, it's more Fallout. I want more Fallout, but I want to play Fallout by myself. I don't want to play Fallout with
Private
friends.
servers.
So the private server issue is a big thing because Todd Howard said we're contemplating private servers.
Oh, I thought he pretty much guaranteed them, but said they weren't coming out for a while.
I don't think that's the case.
Oh, well, shit. Let me look.
Regardless, there's no private servers at launch.
No. Mm-mm.
Even if Bethesda decides to move forward with private servers, which I really hope they do, there's no telling when private servers are going to be implemented. And it's tough because people online, and I know it's a beta and people are kind of goofing around, and I think like the community will probably settle down, like in the month or 2 post launch. You won't get like people just behaving like asshats everywhere. But right now it's like when I played, there was just like a bunch of people running around doing shit. And the thing that was the hardest for me was the loot, because Fallout is a loot game.
Right.
Like you're constantly looting and scavenging. And in this world, if you're following people around, they can loot the boxes ahead of you, and then you get up there and they're empty. Now, not all of them are like that. There's certain toolboxes and certain things that you open that that always have items in them. But like half the boxes I found in the world that were lootable were empty because somebody was in there first.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, I don't want to waste
Yeah.
my time in a loot game that's all about scavenging, where I have to like go and loot everything and find that like just because somebody made it through the world ahead of me, that like everything's empty.
Yeah.
So
Also, I wanted to say I was wrong, apparently. I'm just looking at Steam. I'm not even looking at their actual. I don't know what their actual numbers are. But according to Steam, it looks like they are increased numbers over time on Elder Scrolls.
Also, QuakeCon 2018, Todd Howard said that private servers are definitely something that we are doing. We are committed to it. It's not just having a private server, it's being able to mod it.
Okay, so they are doing it.
Because what I'm hearing from you is it sounds like, and I know some people love the whole online experience and how whatever other people do, that affects how your game plays out.
I'm not one of those people.
No,
I'm not one of those
I'm not
people
either.
either.
So that's why I'm really thinking I'm very interested in this game, but I think I'm going to wait for private servers.
I think I'm just going to wait for a really long time. Honest. Like, I did this to me. I mean, I'll play a little just to like say that I did. Maybe.
Yeah. I want to
But
open the beta just to experience it, but long-term play, I'll wait till private.
This isn't a thing I personally want, and I'm going to wait until they kind of get their shit together a little bit more, a la Elder Scrolls. Plus, I really want to see, like, I want to understand what happens with these nukes.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to kind of observe. I'm really obviously intrigued by, like playing the story and figuring out like what's happening. And I really enjoy Bethesda games. I just like,
I just want Starfield.
I'm going to be honest and just say that I have open world fatigue. I really just do right now.
Yeah, I think
It's a
that's a
real
really
thing.
good point. Like there is so much happening, and every game has to be bigger and better, quote unquote, than the last one. And at some point you get tired because like you just can't do it. Now I would argue probably the average person is not doing what we are all doing.
Correct.
They're
Right.
not picking up all of these games. So they might love it, right? They might be like, oh my God, now I can just pick a game that
That'll
appeals
last me
to me
months.
and it will
Right.
last for a really long time. But when you're in the industry and you are somewhat required to play through these games, it just becomes really fatiguing really fast.
And I think that's why I like Tomb Raider so much, because I felt like I was making progress with every hour that I spent playing
Right.
it.
That's how I felt about Tomb Raider and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like they were technically both open world, but the open world wasn't overwhelming. It was a good size where like, yes, there were things to do and you had a lot to explore, but you weren't going to be stuck there forever.
Right. It's true.
Well, hopefully you guys have had some fun experiences with your friends in Fallout 76's beta.
If you were there for the appropriate hours.
But if not, you can wait until November. It's coming out very soon.
Or wait longer and then get a better polished game.
There you go.
The choice is up to you. Brittany, you played one other thing.
Dungeon Village. So this is made by the same people who made Game Dev Story. Remember that back in the
I
day?
love that game.
Yeah, they've made a lot of games that are similar like that. But I was looking for something to play. I can't remember the name. I'm awful. Are you looking it up?
I will look it up for you right now.
Thank you so much. I love you. And it just came to Switch. So Dungeon Village and another game that's made by the same folks, but it's about running a spa in Japan, I think, or
An onsen?
hot spring. What?
Kairosoft.
Yes, that's exactly it. And so I was just like, so I've been craving a Harvest Moon Story of Seasons game, like real bad, like really bad. And I can't find, I tried playing Harvest Moon on iPad. I tried playing it on PC, and it's just like,
Not doing it
it's
for
hot
ya.
garbage. Like,
Yeah.
let's just keep it real. And Story of Seasons is probably like still like at least 2 years off. So I'm looking for something that has that repetitive gameplay loop that just kind of feel good. You can't really fuck it up. You're just gonna like make.
I've fucked up Harvest Moons before.
Well, you can. Yeah, it's true. I mean,
I think it was a Harvest Moon
It's
where I
hard to do,
accidentally
I think.
smacked my horse with a hammer.
Oh yeah, you can't do that. Don't do that.
And I
It's
was like, I
that's
was
not
trying
good.
to hit the tree. The horse was just
in the way.
right there.
It's kind of like when you shot your horse in Red Dead Redemption.
Hey,
What's
he
wrong
ran,
with you,
he
Steimer?
ran into the
You horse
bullet.
killer.
He ran into it.
And so the whole idea of this is that you are managing a village full of adventurers. So think about it like it's an RPG.
Like an
You're-
adventurer guild.
No, not really. No, people
Oh.
just come and go, and if they like you enough, they'll stick around. And so I played this a few weeks ago, and so I'm trying to like recall it from the best of my memory. Even though I did probably spend like 8 to 10 hours
This is on your
this.
phone.
It's on my Switch.
Switch.
Yeah, it came to Switch. And you have to build armor shops, item shops, weapon shops, inns, casinos, like all these things. You have to make your village super duper attractive to these people. You have to upgrade them. And how you do that is so your villagers have to defeat monsters. And when they defeat monsters, you get points that you can use to upgrade your village. And then you also get coins by undergoing missions and stuff like that. It's complicated and hard to explain because I still don't even really know what I did because there's a lot of mechanics going on with it. But what I would say is if you're looking for an easy time seeing something that is just kind of like a fun, repetitive gameplay loop, but you're always progressing, it's a really good game to pick up. It's maybe like $13, and I got probably 10 hours out of it. It's fun. It's a good time. I would recommend. It's really cute. Feel good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a little sim. It's a good time.
Feel
good.
All right.
I just want to talk about Red Dead.
Well, we are going to talk about Red Dead indeed. We know that you guys have been waiting for it, so we're going to take one more quick break before we come back for our final segment. And it's going to be all about our time with Red Dead Redemption 2. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It is the final segment of the What's Good Games podcast, the segment you've been waiting for, our Red Dead Redemption 2 review in progress discussion. I don't know what we should actually officially call
mine's
this.
like more of an impression.
Hands-on impressions?
Yeah, because I haven't.
So how far are
remotely-
you guys in?
I'm only 17% into the story. I've mostly spent my time wandering around.
Okay.
I am 49% progression.
In story?
No, overall.
Okay.
I'm 43% overall, 33% story. So
Okay, so I'm like
Don't
I think I'm 47% story. My story and overall progression are really close.
Okay. Yeah, my overall is like 10% more.
Yeah. So there's so first off, we're going to try to keep this as spoiler free as possible. As far as the major story beats go, we're not going to tell you, what happens with the characters and things like that, but we will be talking about, some character names, we'll be talking about some some locations in the game and some obviously gameplay systems. So if you want to go into Red Dead Redemption and you don't want any of that spoiled, you want to discover it all for yourself, totally understand. You probably want to peace out and come back and listen to this later or watch this later. So we just want to get that out there. But like I mentioned, we're not going to be spoiling anything for the story for you guys because obviously we haven't even
I was
finished the
like,
game yet.
I wouldn't be able to really spoil that much for you regardless.
Okay, so we will begin. I also brought my notes because
I love that you fucking wrote notes. How adorable.
Listen, it's been a long time since I felt compelled to take multiple pages of notes.
I have my notes here
On
on
a
my
video
iPhone
game.
too.
No.
But
My
I
notes are in
wanted
my
to
head.
write everything down because as I tweeted earlier this week, I am conflicted about this game because there's a lot that I really love, and then there's some things that I'm like, this thing bothers me. So let's start with you ladies. Brittany, you seem incredibly enthusiastic and excited about this game.
I love it. I don't even know where to start, honestly. I will say I know it's not a perfect game. It has some flaws to it for sure, but I think this is one of the best examples of what a video game can be in terms of just the optional content that may or may not be consumed that has so much effort and so much effort put into it. For an example, when you're sitting around your camp area and you hear a conversation happening in the background, you can just meander over there. You don't have to, or you can, and you see these characters engaging in a conversation that you can tell has been completely choreographed for that conversation alone. I'm talking hand motions. I'm talking the looks on their faces. Just optional things that you may or may not see.
And sometimes like your character will chime in depending.
And sometimes your character will chime in. And what that builds is this feeling that the world doesn't revolve around you. That the world continues living on. And that was something I think we had seen a lot in all of the previews that we had read prior to this game launching and prior to getting hands on it ourselves, was this world feels alive and it feels like it's not stopping for you. Whereas in other open world games, it feels like the story progression or the world progression just completely stops until you complete that next mission. But this one, I truly feel like I just have this huge living, breathing world at my fingertips and I can go out and experience it and no one's stopping for me. And to me, that is done so much for the immersion.
Yeah, the dynamic open world is definitely incredibly well done. One of the highlights for this game. So just a little bit of background for people who maybe aren't familiar with what's happening in Red Dead Redemption 2. You play as an outlaw named Arthur Morgan, and you're part of a gang led by a man named Dutch Vandalin, who appeared in the previous game, Red Dead Redemption. And he's back in this game, but this game is actually set timeline-wise before the events of Red Dead Redemption. So it's a little confusing because it's got a number 2 on it, but it's technically a prequel. So you start out having talking about a job gone wrong, and you don't really quite know why it went wrong or what happened. You just know that there was a big take of money that you had to abandon, that you stashed somewhere in an area that you're wanted dead or alive, meaning it's not like a bounty that you can pay off. Like as soon as you enter that area, everybody's trying to kill you. And so you don't really go back there for really a large chunk of the game. And so then you kind of are figuring out like what's the next move for the gang? Where do we go next? We're kind of on the run, but we need some money. We have to find some jobs. And so that's kind of where you get dropped into the world. Now, what's interesting is that clearly there are large sections of the open world that are modeled after real places, and the characters talk about real places like Ohio, but these are fictional places like that you are in. They're not modeled after like a real city in like the American West. In fact, you're not even in the West. You're like in the Midwest.
I think it's Southwest.
You eventually move to the Southwest. Right?
You start out farther west.
You start out in the mountains.
Right. And then everyone is like, we don't want to go east because we don't want to get into that civilization.
Yeah.
But
those New York City
yeah.
people.
It's really quite spectacular how they were able to create, I don't really want to use the word biome, but it feels like a biome, at least where I'm at now. I'm spending a lot of my time in the swampland of the like Louisiana-esque section of the world.
Fucking alligators.
And oh my God, they're the worst. And it feels a lot different than the kind of like more rolling hills area that you start out in the game once you're through the mountain section, of course.
Sure, yeah.
But what do you think about the world, Steimer?
What do I think about
my stomach is like, I haven't etten since this morning.
Brittany's stomach has an opinion about
candy
the
corn,
world.
all candy corn all the time.
Oh my God, we're all just gonna be on sugar highs here in a second. So I think this world is really beautiful and in a way quiet, but not in like Legend of Zelda. There's nothing to do,
right.
Like as you've said before.
Right.
I think this game does ask you to pay attention, though, in a way that a lot of open world games don't. A lot of open world games, if you open the map and look at it, it's scattered in icons, right? Like everything is there. But this one is like you have to kind of just wander around. There's a lot of dynamic events that will happen just as you're on the road. There's a couple things that have passed me, and I just haven't engaged with them because I was like, you know what, I'm on my way to a thing. I'm not gonna bother with you. And then there's also little Easter eggs that you might find if you look for them. Like if you're just going and exploring, the game will reward you in that way, which I find really nice. Also, like this is the most beautiful game I've ever seen. Like walking, like and the animations and the way that they've modeled even the animals is incredible. Like riding on my horse is fucking like 12 out of 10 for me. I love it. And then also, even when I kill a thing and put it on the back of my horse, the way the body animates, I'm like, Jesus, like this is fucking crazy to me.
Yeah, no, it is, and I'm glad. Yeah. I'm so glad that you brought that up. I was gonna make a zing about how it's glad that you like riding your horse because it's all you fucking do in this game. But we can talk about that later. Yeah. But I'm with you in the sense that like the awe and wonder at the level of detail that was done in the animation of this world, because a lot of times, we see really beautiful open world games, but not every single part of the open world is so meticulously handcrafted. Like I think a lot of times about how amazed I am when I play Ubisoft's open world games, because their art team does such a fantastic job realizing those worlds and their attention to detail. And I feel like Rockstar has taken that even maybe a step further to say, that's really amazing what this art team has done. We're going to make it even more photorealistic than anybody I think thought possible, and they maintain that quality. And I should say, obviously Rockstar provided us with our codes for PlayStation 4. Are you all playing on Pro?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm playing on Pro as well. I'm also playing on a 4K TV with
Same.
HDR turned on.
Same.
And it's just mesmerizing. It's really, really beautiful.
And I really like actually riding around at night in particular because it's interesting to see what the night sky would look like without all the light pollution that we currently have. And granted, obviously this is a video game, but like
Yeah.
still,
it's
still
true.
you're like, holy shit, the Milky Way.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
cool.
I
Like, you're
have.
like, and
Yep.
it has me thinking like, oh my god, like what would life be like back then? And it's so fascinating to think about because especially and I'm sure that I had these thoughts maybe when I was playing Red Dead Redemption, but I don't know to the extent because this game does feel so much more
feels real. Yeah.
It has me thinking about things like, yeah, the only way really to communicate out that you've done a bad thing is if someone sees you and then they go and tell someone else. And like that is how things are communicated. They are passed through word of mouth or through telegram or
It's
some other
really-
way.
It's really interesting you're saying that because as I was playing, my dad came over and he was, kind of like, he's a Western buff and he was watching me
Yeah,
play.
I'm like, I told John, I go, my dad would love this game.
And so, so my dad was over. I'm like, hey, Dad, like, just stay a few hours and watch me play. And that's what he said. He's like, this game really makes you think. And he doesn't know jack shit about video games. He doesn't know about the impact video games can have on people. But those were his exact words.
Yeah.
Like, damn, like, this is what it was like.
Yeah, and especially
Fascinating.
with the changes that they've made, certain parts feel obviously very video gamey. I will say, anytime you go to fight a gang, there's just a plethora of dudes somehow, right? Like they just
Is this
continue
microphone
to
bothering you again?
spawn.
I mean, a little. I don't mind holding it, though.
Keep talking, Steimer. I'm gonna fix it.
So that part always is a little bit like, okay, people are just coming out of the woodwork somehow, sure.
Yeah.
But that's probably much the only part that really ever feels
Exactly.
super gamey is when you're doing that. And then
Girl, thank you. That's amazing. Oh.
she's making a pillow.
YouTube.com/what's good games.
I don't even know what you would call that. Oh no, you hit the seal. You turned the seal on.
Oh, well, I'm
It-
taking your pumpkin away.
Okay.
The pumpkin goes somewhere else, and now we've got fucking careless
Can
whisper.
you keep it by my feet? Yeah. Because you can't see it. You're
No,
happy.
he's out of frame.
Okay.
That's gonna be. I can't do it until that stops.
Alex and
That's-
Racy. Okay,
I-
there we go.
Okay.
Can you lean back?
I can't-
Did I push it too far? Here.
So
how's
she's.
that?
I can do this.
No. You get comfortable and I'll move it.
Oh my goodness.
This is how the sausage gets made, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sometimes the
YouTube.com/what's good games.
the microphone gets a little
Amazing. I'm
over
perfect.
wieldy.
You are wonderful and thank you.
Okay.
Don't trip over my pumpkin. He's my baby.
Yes.
Don't hurt my pumpkin.
Hey, I've been looking after that pumpkin for a full year.
She has. She's
You're a
kept
good
it
pumpkin
safe.
mom.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Continue.
So the only part that felt really gamey is when you're in the
the
fights.
only part that feels gamey is when you go into like some shootout with a gang of some kind,
and they
then,
pop out
and
of
then there's
nowhere,
just
and they're like, yeah.
wave after wave of dudes,
Where are they
and then
coming
you
from?
have like 30 bodies on the ground. And then here's a nitpick. The loot animation's way too long, and it just like it needs
Oh
to.
my God, Steimer! Thank you.
It's too long for a game of this size.
It's way too
And
long.
it would be fine if it did. I actually think Witcher did this, where like it will do the full animation for the first couple, and then it will just pick the things
Okay,
up and skip over the animation, which is what you should do when you have 30 bodies around you. But it doesn't do that, and you have to do the animation every time. And
or you just have to abandon the bodies
oh
because
hell
the
no,
looting.
I am.
Oh no!
But
trust,
sometimes
no,
sometimes
trust
I
me.
have
When
had
once you
to.
get into the story missions later,
No, I know.
you're not going to
I
be
know
able
what
to.
you're-
Okay, so
I know what you're talking about.
I'm conflicted about this because on
Okay.
one hand, like as a gamer and as someone who I hate that sounded really dumb, but as someone who's accustomed to video games and what video games typically do, there are perks you can even unlock in like Diablo, for example. You auto loot. You just walk by something and you just automatically loot it, and that's
Yes.
convenient for us as gamers.
Yes.
But I feel like this game tries to stay so realistic that it does, which feels punishing. I understand, and it can be because I'm frustrated, but I also get it. It's like every motion that Arthur Morgan does is what's the word I'm looking for? It's choreographed. Like there's no simple press X to pay your respects or whatever the hell it is.
Even
Activate
just it's something that I noticed right away. It was like one of the first notes that I made,
Even
like
brewing
from chapter
coffee
1.
is an event.
No, yeah.
Chapter 1, my very first note, super slow. Everything felt slow. Looting, writing, tutorials. Graphics look great. So I'm so glad you brought this up because it's one of my ongoing complaints about the game. And this game is like a really obviously fantastically made game, but I feel like sometimes it gets in its own way.
Yeah, I could see that.
The idea that they really want to make it almost like a cowboy simulator that also is acting as an adventure game. I first had to keep reminding myself, this is not an RPG. This is not an RPG. This is not an RPG. We're getting so many crossover genres these days with mashups of games that are trying to kind of dip their toes in several different genres that it's sometimes easy to forget that not every game is trying to do everything and that there are not RPG elements in this game. And I think it took me a while to like convince myself like, hey, stop looking for the RPG mechanics because you're never gonna find them. And so, like, hopefully, if you haven't started playing yet, you will go in reminding yourself this is not an RPG. And so, like, when I was going to loot the very first thing, I was going to pick some cans of food up off of a shelf in one of the very first environments you're in. And Arthur reaches down, swings his arm in, grabs the can, swings it back, looks at it, puts it away.
As F for me. I was like, whoa, is this how we're doing this?
And then there was four items I had to pick up on that shelf. Reaches down, grabs it, reaches back, puts it in.
Right.
Every time, and I was like, oh no, this is going to be real tedious. And it is. It continues to be tedious throughout my play session so far.
Now, see, like, and that's where I'm conflicted, is I feel this is one of those few games that makes me feel so immersed into it. And I think that even comes down to the fact that everything has an animation, and I never feel like I'm playing a video game unless
you just feel like you are this guy, and you would of course go to grab that can of food because otherwise how would you get it?
Right. And because like this is my main game, I don't feel like I'm rushed. I don't feel like I have anything else I need to get to, which we all do have other things to get to, but for the moment I'm letting myself just enjoy the pace of this, and that includes the slow animation because it does add to the immersion.
It's funny that you say that you don't feel rushed, because one thing that I noted in my notes as well that continues to be an incredible annoyance of mine is how rushed the NPCs make you in the world.
Oh no, in the missions, it's real bad.
And it's not just the missions too. It's some of the open world things where the NPCs constantly are telling you, hurry up, do this thing, come here, faster, why aren't you here yet?
Let me clarify. Let me clarify. When I say I don't feel rushed, I'm talking about in real life, in my game, in my game, in my real life.
No, but I was just using it as a dumb segue.
Oh, sorry.
I wasn't trying to co-opt what you were saying. I was just saying, like, it's funny that you don't feel rushed, because actually I feel rushed all the time.
And that is a complaint of mine. And during missions, especially if you have a shootout where you kill like dozens of enemies, they
want to loot them all,
you
but
want to loot them because money is hard to come by, especially in the beginning of this game.
It's not I guess if you rob people, but if you're trying to be good,
it's okay. There's not much to buy with it. We'll get to that later.
Yes, we will.
Horsies.
And so that was always that was an annoyance. I feel like I want to pull a dick move and I want to kill someone random because my morale, like, I'm very far on the right and I'm very like a good person.
Your honor is high.
My honor is high. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. And if I want to kill someone because they have like a safe or something I want to get into, okay, fine. There's no one around. The minute I shoot my bow at that motherfucker and kill them, there's someone who's reporting it, and then all of a sudden I'm like rushed. I'm like, what is going on? That is a complaint of mine.
Did you try stealth killing him? I don't know if that...
with a bow. I mean,
no, not with a bow. Like walking up with a knife and shanking him.
And I think that's where like the realistic part. I love the realism of it, but in that sense, it becomes an annoyance because I'm like, okay, if you're gonna be so realistic, no one's gonna hear me pull an arrow back in my bow and shoot this person. All of a sudden someone decides to trot by, or maybe there's not even anyone, because I always look on my map or I listen for like hooves of a horse. I'm like, okay, no one's by. All of a sudden crime's been reported and I have to halt hits and get out of there, and there's bodies everywhere. There's a safe I didn't get to because I don't want to get caught and I don't want a bounty.
Yeah, so this is kind of the core of my complaints of the game, is that it seems like some of these systems just kind of get in their own way.
Yeah.
And like the way that the game is so deliberately trying to make you play in a specific way is a constant pain point in my playthrough. And it's unfortunate because I think what they're trying to do with this game is really amazing. Like, not only just from like an art and animation standpoint, because I think we can't say enough about how fantastic the art and animations are in this game, but I think like what it comes down to is that I'm not looking for a playable cinema experience in a game of this length. So this is a game, I'm now about 35 to 40 hours in, and I'm just hitting the halfway point. So I'm looking at least a 70 to 80 hour experience, if not more.
Yeah,
If
I'm
I
here
really
an average of 100.
if I really want to take my time doing some more of the open world stuff and going hunting and exploring, right? That is a long time commitment. And I think the problem that I'm having with it is that the gameplay portions seem so few and far between. And then when you get to them, there's just all of these pain points around them. Case in point with you talking about, you know, how you thought you were stealth killing somebody out in the middle of nowhere that nobody could report it. I was in a city in Saint-Denis on my horse. I got there accidentally. I was riding a train and I rode the train all the way in. And so I wasn't there story-wise yet.
Oh, did you? I did that too, and then like my horse was following along the train.
Yeah, no, my horse followed the train
I
too.
was like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?"
And so I got off the train, got on my horse, and was riding around in the city. And spoilers, light spoilers, no one in Saint-Denis likes it when you ride your horse. The NPCs hate it when you ride your horse
You
in
go
Saint-Denis.
slow, it's okay.
Like
you have to go like
really slow, not even like a
not
trot,
not a trot, like a walk.
like a canter.
It
Yeah.
needs to walk.
And so I accidentally sideswiped a pedestrian, and like it was an accidental thing. Like I didn't like run him down.
Right.
My horse like nudged him, and apparently that's unarmed assault in that city. And a witness immediately reported it, and 15 guys chased me on my horse out of the city for accidentally sideswiping him. And then I had an $80 bounty on my head, and I was like,
What?
Yeah.
100%.
Because I've definitely bumped people there and not gotten a.
I was in the same city, and I was walking to, I think it was a photographer, and I was literally just going there to like enjoy myself. I had no missions on my mind. I'm like, I'm gonna explore the city, this town.
I'm gonna go to the photo studio.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna hang out. I'm just walking along. I'm not even on my horse. And there were a gang who were like taunting me, like, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. And I just walked by him. I diffused. I was like, I don't want no trouble, blah, blah, blah. But the photo studio was just maybe a few steps past that. And I went inside the photo studio. Well, apparently the AI didn't realize that I went inside the building. So they came inside that building, started shooting me up. I started running. Next thing I know, I have like 10 or 15 lawmen after me. I am running out.
Even though you didn't do anything?
I didn't do anything wrong. They because you know if you linger around too long, they'll start shooting you.
No.
Oh,
I did not have that at all.
Have you
What?
experienced that?
When you're wanted, you mean?
No. Just like in general, if you're like galloping through the wilderness, and someone's like, hey, move along. Or if you come across like a tent or something like that. And you linger a little too long, they'll start shooting at you. So this is what happened, but inside
Not
the
everyone.
town.
Sometimes they're like, hey, man, come sit by the fire.
I've never had anyone.
Oh, I
actually
had
welcome-
someone do
No,
that.
no, no.
Apparently, you find all the friendlies in the wilderness.
No. But that was like one of the most
I've
frustrating.
definitely had someone try to shoot me, and I was like,
That was
no.
one of the most frustrating moments I'd had in this game. Is I was literally just trying to like enjoy my time in this beautifully crafted city. And next thing you know, I'm being chased out. I have a huge bounty on me. I just had a loaded prior save. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is so stupid. Now I have like 100-something bounty.
See, that's so interesting because like I had a thing that just happened this morning when I was playing, but it didn't go to that severity. It was in Saint Denis, and like I was trying to get to the trapper, but I took the wrong turn. Because so what I did on my map, I don't like the HUD of the game. I think it interferes. So I turned off most of it. I have like sort of a grayed out compass instead that just sort of directionally tells you which way you should go instead of the GPS. And everything else is dynamic, so it only pops up if you need it. So I was riding my horse. I accidentally took a wrong turn because it was directionally and not specific. And I'm in this like hallway thing, or like not in a hallway, in an alley, and people were like, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, but I'm on my horse. But again, it's like at a walk. I'm like, all right, turn it around. But then this guy pulls me off my horse. But then I just beat the shit out of him. I didn't kill him, I don't think. But I just beat him up.
Yeah.
And he was laying unconscious on the ground. No one reported me. There was another person right there. And I got on my horse and I wandered away. I just like was like, okay, bye.
I feel like the crime system is wildly inconsistent, which is frustrating when you're trying to kind of plan out, what you want to do in the world. And I've spent more money on bounties than on anything else because, gunning down bounty hunters, can be fun for X amount of time. You can loot them, generally loot them without having any kind of pressure to do it quickly.
Right.
But at the same time, the bounty system also locks you out of doing specific things, particularly using the stagecoach system. And so that brings me to another point that I want to bring up. This game clearly wants you to spend as much time riding your horse in the game as possible because the fast travel system is incredibly limited. It starts with the stagecoach system where when you enter a new city and there's a stagecoach, you can pay the stagecoach driver, which, by the way, you have to pay, just like a taxi, the stagecoach driver.
Can be expensive depending on how
far you're
away you
going.
are.
To take you to the next city on a stagecoach. I do like the way that they've handled the hiding of the loading with the animation of like getting into the stagecoach and you're driving in the stagecoach while they're loading in the next section. That part's really nice.
But then I've taken a stagecoach. I did take a train.
Yeah, you could also buy train tickets to go between.
The train ticket was
systems
way
as well.
cheaper than the stagecoach.
I found that the train loading screens were much longer than the stagecoach. Whatever that's worth.
I don't know.
So
but the ticket
it's
was like $5.
cheaper but
Yeah.
slower,
Just
faster, more
wait,
expensive.
which is weird because the train should go faster than a horse.
Yeah.
Well, it depends if the train has to go around where horses.
Sure,
maybe,
horses maybe have a more direct path.
Yeah. So you have the stagecoach, you have the train.
And then, if you want to, you can pay to unlock a fast travel option within the upgrades of the ledger of the camp.
Right.
And so I decided to spend, and back then when I unlocked it, it was quite a bit of my meager wallet of money. And so I was like, you know what? I'm spending just too much time riding my horse between these points. Like I want to like have the option to fast travel if I want to. Sometimes I really like taking the road because you can do some hunting in between and in like these
You
instances
might run into people. Yeah.
are really great and really dynamic and really help you make your experience incredibly unique to you and your playthrough.
Yeah.
But when I opened the fast travel system, I noticed that it was connected to this map on Arthur's tent in camp. And I was like, that's weird. So I pull it up and I look at the map and I'm like, okay, so I can see all the different cities that I can fast travel to.
Mm-hmm.
So I fast travel to one and then I go to fast travel back. Nay. You cannot fast travel backwards from camp. You can only fast travel outside of camp.
So you can go to Valentine?
You can go to, well, I mean, in my playthrough, I have many more locations unlocked that you can fast travel to, including Valentine, if you are not wanted there.
I'm such a good citizen. What do you mean?
Well, there's something that happens in the story that kind of
okay.
forces you to be a bad thing, which we'll talk
You know
about the
what?
morality system
I
in just a
will
little bit.
do what I want. I'm Arthur Morgan.
But that's one of the other like major pain points in the game for me, outside of like the very slow looting. The NPCs who are constantly hustling you, and the idea that there's this massive, beautiful world, which yes, I'm spending plenty of time in, but sometimes you want to just move back and forth quickly between missions.
As you get like farther into a game of that size, it's definitely
right. When I'm like 40 hours deep into a game and I've seen the same area and I've traversed that section quite a bit, I don't need to necessarily be wandering around the road that.
I do wish that they had like a follow road similar to Assassin's Creed. And again, I wouldn't even mind if they locked it.
Didn't they have that in Red Dead Redemption, a follow road option?
I don't remember
think
when.
so. I actually
Okay.
looked it up, and it was like, no, it's the same way, same system. And I wouldn't mind if they even like said, you know, you had to hit, I don't know, 20 hours in, and then you can do it. Fine, whatever. Like if you want me to slowly traverse the world for enough time that you know that I have looked at most of it, or lock it to a story mission or a something, I don't care. Lock it to something, I don't care. But to not have it at all at this stage of gaming feels a little
Punishing.
rough.
Yeah.
It feels unnecessarily punishing in a single player game. Now, I understand that obviously Red Dead Online is coming later. We don't have any details about how that's going to interact, if at all, with the single player portion of Red Dead Redemption 2. So I just like, it's, as somebody who's as deep into the game as I am, it's frustrating, especially since I decided one time I was doing a story mission. It dumped me in a part of the world that was like not close to a town. So regardless, I was going to have to ride my horse to the closest town, even if I wanted to use the stagecoach.
Sure.
But you can't take the stagecoach to camp because then somebody knows
Everyone will know where you
then
are.
somebody knows where camp is.
Have you not unlocked fast travel at that point?
No, fast travel's unlocked
No,
at this point.
No, I mean your camp, whatever, like upgrades locked. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't have fast traveled
You
to
can't
someplace.
fast
No,
else.
there's
travel.
no way to fast travel to camp at all.
No, I know, not to camp,
Yeah.
but somewhere closer.
Oh, well, you can't fast travel to just in the middle of the world.
Oh, you can only fast travel out of
To
camp?
You could only fast travel out of camp.
to specific
I thought
locations.
you meant once you were in the world.
Oh, you
could
would
go...
think you would be able to.
No.
So, like, you would think if I'm out in the world, if, let's say I
Oh.
have to go hunting, I have to go to this specific area of the world to hunt a
Right.
specific animal. Oh, you know, it'd be nice if I could just fast travel back to camp instead
Instead,
of
you
having
have to
gallop.
find a town that's nearby or an area that's nearby, go there, and then kind of like hoof it the rest of the way.
And it's bullshit because this story mission that I was doing took me way out in the middle of nowhere. And I was in a part of I was in the middle of the night. Stagecoaches weren't even open because, by the way,
Yeah,
not
they're locked
only
to
not
time.
only are they locked to towns, they're locked to specific times of day as well. So I'm out here in the middle of nowhere going, okay,
Or you
I
just
clearly
set up a camp.
I look at, well, even if I set up camp, I still have to get back
Sure.
to camp,
You can
right?
Do they not? They don't have fast travel through camps. I thought
No,
they did at one
Steimer,
point.
this is the
Well,
problem.
no, but that's like I mean for I thought in the
Maybe it's I
original-
just
Well,
maybe
original-
it exists and I just haven't found
Now,
it.
in old school, jeez, Red Dead, it was you could fast travel between camps, right?
I thought you could.
Yeah, I thought that was the case.
So maybe I just haven't set up camp and attempted to fast travel between
Maybe
camps.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that immediately
I
when we're done with
haven't-
the
Okay, 'cause
podcast.
I'm like that.
I
seems
haven't
wrong.
unlocked that either. So since we're on like the gripes of this game, because like I said, I love this game a lot. I do have because like I said in the beginning, it's not a perfect game.
Oh no, I have a lot of good notes too.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten to like
no,
the narrative
we're
stuff
just
yet.
kind of getting discernment. So one thing I've noticed that is annoying is if you die, if you get pounced on by a cougar, for example, or an alligator, you will not spawn. Like what I found is I haven't spawned where I died. I've spawned a little out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And where this became an issue is one time I spawned on top of this massive ridge that I was near it, but I was at the very bottom, and it spawned me on the very top of it. Good thing I found a dinosaur bone up there. Good times. But then I had to go way out of my way to get back to where I was. That was an annoyance. The accidental crime, which we kind of touched base on, is an annoyance of mine. I accidentally turned a corner, and I turned a corner on purpose, but there was another person coming my way. I mowed them over with my horse. Murder. And I was like, I did not mean to do that. Please don't punish me.
Accidental murder.
Accidental murder.
Purposefully murdered lots of people and did not get any murder bounties because it was in the middle of nowhere. No one saw me, and I threw their body in the river.
Yeah, see? But that's the thing is I literally ran
I liked Andrea's face just now at me.
I threw people in the river too. I threw people in the
Listen,
river.
we've all thrown a body in the river at some point.
And then, like I mentioned earlier, when the AI didn't realize that I had just gone inside a building that was near them and they all started shooting me and I got chased out of town. I've had a few bugs happen, obviously.
I've also had a few bugs.
Nothing
I've
like-
actually had more than a few bugs.
Really? I haven't
Yeah.
had anything super crazy, just like maybe the wonky animation or maybe my horse is like stuck in a wall or something that's happened, but that's been annoying.
How do you feel about the survival elements of this game?
Oh, like the cores?
How you have to sleep, shave, bath, and eat. Well, you don't have to
Bathe.
shave.
Oh, I mean, to me, like the shaving isn't an issue. The bathing, I've only bathed once in the entire time I played this game.
There's only a couple
Yeah.
instances where the game forces you to bathe.
Yeah.
In original, you just made a camp, and then you could fast travel somewhere that you've been before.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Is you would kneel down,
But
by
you
the
still
fire.
can't fast travel to camp, can you?
There was no
There was
real
no
camp
central
in,
camp.
in Red Dead Redemption. You had your house, but you didn't really need to go there.
Yeah.
No.
So camp was everywhere.
So
But I looked up a Polygon article, and they also say the same thing, that they haven't tried doing that, but because they
Yeah.
also said it was a one way thing.
it's a one
Yeah.
thing. So the shaving, the bathing, what were the other things?
The
you mentioned?
shaving, the bathing.
So for me,
The
it's like
eating,
so
the
the eating and the
drinking.
sleeping. So this is just like another layer of complexity. Before we get to this, the point I was making with the camp was that they dropped me in the middle of nowhere with this mission. I took out the timer on my cell phone because I was like, wow, camp looks really far away. And I want to see just how long it's going to take me to gallop on my horse to get back to camp. Because like at this point, I was like 30 hours deep into the game, and I was like, my God, riding horse in this game is so beautiful. And the sound design of getting in and out of the saddle and customizing my saddle and all that is awesome. But you know what? Sometimes I don't want to fucking ride my horse. I just need to get back
Or
to camp.
yeah, you just want to
Yeah.
just
So,
follow the road. Go.
I was like, you know what? I want to see how long this asinine adventure is going to take me. So I took out my phone, I hit start on my stopwatch, and I started galloping. Now this isn't like a slow walk. Like I'm running
Mashing.
as full speed as I can on my horse without draining all of my sand
What
off.
kind of horse did you have?
I had a Tennessee Walker. I just bought a fancy horse at the stables in Saint Denis, but I digress. How many minutes do you think it took me to get back to camp?
I can't guess because I already know.
5 minutes and 27 seconds.
It took me 8 minutes and 40 seconds.
Oh.
Over 8 minutes, Brittany,
Almost 9.
to get back to camp.
Now, could you have stopped in a town and fast traveled back?
No, I couldn't have because you can't fast travel to camp from town.
Sorry, I meant somewhere to like. I guess it depends on where your camp is. Somewhere
Could I have ridden my horse to a town and then fast traveled from that town to another town and then ridden from that town into camp on my horse?
No, legit. Like, that's what you have to do. No, it's ridiculous. I get it.
Yes.
I've had those moments where I've been up in swampland and I'm like, okay, I can catch a stagecoach to Valentine. And then my camp is like right around that area. Because, I agree.
My point is like, listen, I get it. The world is beautiful. You want me to go in the world and have these dynamic experiences. Because as Steimer mentioned, that's one of the most amazing things about this game is this idea that you get to be on a road traveling from one place to another. Or maybe you're just wandering and exploring. And all of a sudden, you'll come across a wagon like I did last night where clearly there's an argument happening. Two guys are fighting two other guys. I just am standing in the distance watching, not interfering at all. Two guys get shot by the other guys. The other two guys steal their wagon. So I'm like, oh, well, clearly they are no good people. I should probably steal that wagon from them. So I ride in and I kill both of them and then loot all of their bodies and take the contents of the wagon.
Yes.
But like,
Did you get a morale loss when you did that?
yes, I did.
Okay.
What's
That's
interesting about it is that like, I could have just not done anything. I could
Yeah.
have just stood there and watched it all play out. And it comes back to what you were talking about, Brittany, with this world seeming alive. And that, I think, is something that is really masterfully done here. But you had mentioned these micromanaging. I have been perpetually underweight in this game.
Me too.
I thought it was...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it was...
fine.
I thought it was gonna... I was fine. Well, you're like only 17% in. As you get deeper and deeper
In the story?
yeah. As you get deeper and deeper in, like, you just stop eating. Like, you don't
This game isn't hard. And I never
Yes.
find myself compelled to eat.
eat. This comes back to one of my other things that I really
I
wish.
just like eating in video games or in real
Oh,
life.
no.
I'm always like, I have a mutton chop here. Sounds like it's time to eat some food.
This comes back to one of the things that I thought was really kind of frustrating was about the whole crafting and inventory management system at large and how it just feels so not important in a way. Like there's no weight to it. And it comes back to the whole in-game economy about how I made a reference earlier in our discussion about how it doesn't matter how much money you have because you can't spend it on anything. It matters in the beginning when you have nothing. But then there's one point in the story where you do like a particularly big job and you get a nice windfall of change. And you're like, oh, I'm rich. And then you're like, wait, what do I spend this on?
Stagecoaches.
Well, I mean,
Train tickets.
stagecoaches and train tickets. I mean, but like you can't spend enough of this money that you get.
I was joking.
But the thing was, is like I unlocked everything at camp. I bought a bunch of outfits, and then I went to the gunsmith, and I was like,
Buy all
I'm
the
gonna
best
buy all
guns?
fancy guns. But a lot of the guns were locked, even now
Right.
that I couldn't buy them.
Oh.
Don't know why they're locked. I don't know if it's a story thing or what. So there's a bunch of guns I couldn't buy.
So did you do a lot of side stuff before you like dove into a lot of the main missions? Because
No.
okay, because see that's what not side stuff necessarily, but I also by the time
I mean, I did some bounties.
bounties. Okay, you move your camp throughout this game. That's something we've all known. Before I moved my first camp, I had already unlocked most of everything. And so I think I know what you're talking about. When you get all that money, you're like, I have everything I kind of need. What do I do with it? And everything is still locked that I would spend it on. And I'm like, what do I do with it?
I mean, essentially all you buy is cosmetic stuff. You buy outfits.
Yeah, but
I mean, and the clothes, you guys. The clothes look fantastic.
Oh, they're
in
fun.
this
Look
game.
fucking good.
I love the different the combinations of like, and I don't know if it's maybe just an allure I had because I don't wear menswear, but like
oh no, it's like you're like, ooh yes,
like
this
the suit
necktie,
jackets
yeah.
Totally.
and
Yeah,
the
the
vests and all
hats
the
and the-
things and
everything.
and the
yeah.
way the clothing looks in cutscenes and in animations is fantastic. It's
Yeah.
superbly done.
But,
Yeah,
oh my God.
love it.
People keep knocking my goddamn hat off, and it pisses
Oh
me
yeah, no,
off.
you'll always lose your hat. Just store
I'm
a bunch of hats on your horse. And
No,
you'll be
it's fine. But I was just like, my fucking hat. Give me my hat back.
It also took me like a solid 10 hours to figure out how to equip clothing from my horse.
Yeah.
Did not realize how many tab overs in the menu system I had
and
to do.
that's an interesting point because the controls in this game are so not traditional. For me, it took.
Oh
a
yeah,
while.
I had to remap some stuff, I think.
Oh, I see. I didn't remap anything. I just kind of suffered through it until I understood everything. But yeah, it's interesting because I have killed so many people in accident. I've shot many people. I've pointed my gun at so many people, and
But those are the triggers, which are pretty much universally shooty sticks.
I think what you're saying though is that the trigger though is used for multiple things in this game.
Right.
You know, so it could be to pull up a conversation wheel, or it could be to pull up your gun.
sometimes
Same button.
Sometimes it means aim weapon. Sometimes it's like start up and greet someone, and then you never really know. So I mean, that was.
Contextual.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good conversation because I share all of the same complaints you have. But what I will say is it doesn't take away from how much I am loving and enjoying this game.
Right. Yeah. Well, so let's transition. There's certainly some more mechanical things that I can talk about that I'm kind of frustrated by when it comes to like the gameplay loop systems, including how terrible combat still is. Come on, Rockstar, how did you not improve your reticle system? But the things that this game does well, the reason why we are still playing 40 hours in, even though we've talked about these pain points, is that this is one of the most amazing video game narratives I've ever played. And I say that because so rarely does a game come along that makes you care about the side characters and like the kind of crewmates in your game like you do in Red Dead Redemption 2. And it's been, I almost want to say maybe since Mass Effect, in a game where the people that I'm playing alongside in the game, like as characters, mean as much to me as my protagonist does.
I'm having an interesting conundrum because I loved Red Dead Redemption, right? Like I 100% of that game. I love John Marston. I think one of the reasons it's holding me back from, like, because I've had story missions on like ready to go for a while, and I'm just ignoring them when I'm going around and doing other things. I think part of the reason is because I know I'm gonna like John less, in the sense that I mean, because I was talking to somebody about this, and I was like, John's also a bad guy. John murders his friends. John murders the people he has been at this camp with, right? Like, that is the whole point of Red Dead Redemption, is you're going around and killing your old gang members or your old, gang mates, whatever. And, like...
It's not that black and white, though.
No, I know, but I'm still saying, like, can you imagine... It would be like if we were in a weird little... Oh, my God. Fucking get rid of it.
The seal, you guys. It's so cute, though.
Down there swimming. All right.
I hate that so much. Only because I'm like now distracted. No.
You guys can't hear it, but the seal bando, Brittany bumped it, and so Careless Whisper
I barely
is
touched
playing.
that thing. It was like,
Yeah, you don't. It's very sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, it's like bumping up against people in Red Dead Redemption 2 when you're on your horse.
oh yeah, they'll fucking throw you in.
All
for
it takes is
murder.
a little nudge.
Hey,
Assault, animal
that was like
cruelty.
Assassin's Creed.
Okay, sorry.
the
So
past
you're gonna
one.
like John less.
So you're
because he
worried
murdered
about
I'm going
his
to
John's
like
story.
John less. I'm worried that I'm going to like John less because I see already how dedicated Arthur. Woo, my voice cut off. How Arthur is to this gang, and how all of these people, yes, they do bad things, but they really try to take care of each other, and it's very much supposed to be like a family. And so then to realize, like, oh shit. And I'm sure that I might like them maybe less, I don't know, as we do bad things, but still, it's like these were the people that you said you were going to be loyal to, and then you turned around.
But we learn why. We know why John Marston turned on everyone.
Oh,
though.
I know.
So
To me, I'm like, that's still not.
So for me, it's like I hear what you're saying, but in Red Dead, you know, he feels like he's been betrayed by his former gang, so he's taking his girlfriend, wife. I don't know if they're wife. They're married by that point.
They are very
and
much married.
son, to start a whole new life, to do better by himself and to do a thing. And actually, to me, that's a more endearing quality because you see what he's like in these old days, and then you know what eventually he tries to do for himself and his family.
I get it. I just also, I don't know.
I
struggle with it.
I think that you think it gets much darker than at least it has so far in my playthrough. Don't be afraid. At least not yet. Obviously, we don't know how the game ends.
Right.
It clearly something bad's gonna go down eventually.
Yes.
That
tends to be how these things
and-
go.
Yeah.
And there are some, some losses and some surprising moments in the story. Of course, any good narrative has it. I think the reason I bring that up is because so few games put the time into developing these characters as actual people you should care about. And I think Rockstar has done a fantastic job of making these people feel real. Right? Like I feel like I know Lenny, and I feel like I know
Karen
Sadie and like
everyone,
and like all the people that you meet in the camp, they feel like real people that I care about and have an investment in as characters. Whereas most video games, even if they are somebody who's along for the ride, you don't really care about them that much. You really care about your protagonist, the person you're playing as.
Right.
And I think they're to be commended for the incredible narrative work that they've done. And as Britt mentioned, like not just the interaction that you have when you're playing as Arthur, but the interaction that you just overhear in the world of them having with each other.
Yeah.
And it's just really well done.
I also want to take a moment because I remember before, obviously, this game came out, and I had talked a lot about like how I wasn't sure if I was going to like Arthur Morgan.
Oh yeah.
And I will say that's no longer really a concern for me. I actually find him great. I really
Right?
do enjoy him. And like even the first few hours, I laughed out loud at some of the dialogue that he says. I think I texted you a couple of the lines. One was like, "No one wants to hear about your time in the Navy," or whatever, like something like that. And I laughed out loud. I just was like, "That's fuck yes, that's exactly probably what I would want to say." I don't know that I would ever say it, but so I really appreciate his delivery. I think the actors are incredible.
Oh, the performances are really fantastic.
Yeah. So hats off to you, Arthur Morgan. Literal hats
also,
off.
one of my notes: taking baths is this game of the year? Question mark?
And having someone come in there and help you.
The lady scrub.
Oh my god, I
Scrubbing
accidentally
you.
dismissed her really quickly. I didn't mean to. Like, I paid 50 cents to get her
woman
to
to help
come,
and give
and
you a
then she
bath?
literally sat there behind me for 10 seconds, and then I accidentally hit the dismiss button, and then she left. And I was like, "Well, I paid you 50 cents. Come back."
There needs to be more places where you can take baths in this game, because I would spend so much time just taking baths because it's so nice, relaxing experience. And he's got his little bath tray with his bubble bath, and he's got a little drink there.
Yeah,
But
he
I've
looks like
only
he's having
found
a
like
great time.
two places to take baths, and I haven't found a place in Saint Denis where you can take a bath.
I haven't either.
I'm like, this is bullshit. This is like the biggest city I've come across in this world, and I can't take a bath. What? Why not?
But yes, I remember we were all worried. I don't know if you were worried, Andrea, about not liking Arthur Morgan as a character. That was
I wasn't worried because I think I had no dog in the race.
okay.
No horse in the race?
No
horse in the race.
I mean, both are
You
race
can have-
animals.
Yeah,
It's true. Dog in the race, horse in the race,
You
dog
can say
races.
no pig in the race, pigs race sometimes.
Turtle races?
Yeah, that works.
Jesus.
You can kill turtles in this game, by
Dude,
the way.
I did.
I did.
You
too.
have to.
And I threw. Oh, well, I
I
killed
didn't
one.
have to.
I
One
didn't
was
have
just
to.
on a beach.
But yeah,
And
I
was
think
like, "Pting."
obviously we were making those. We had that worry, I think, before we knew that there was that morality system, and you can make him a good guy or a bad guy.
But see, I like that I can I do what I want in the moment.
Right,
And
so
I don't feel bad about it.
Let's talk about this morality system,
Yeah.
the honor system. So this is something that's new for Red Dead Redemption 2, the way that this honor system works, correct?
I'm
Yes.
trying to remember, but yes, I think so.
So essentially,
I don't
the
remember that
idea
in the
is that Arthur is conflicted about wanting to like do the right thing, but also he's an outlaw, right?
Right.
So like you're inherently always going to commit crimes, but you're trying to do it, at least the best way you can do it without hurting too many innocent people.
Might not be new.
Oh, really? I don't remember that in the first one.
I didn't play enough of the first one to let me
It's
know.
just too far. My brain is
If somebody in
total
chat who is watching on the live stream wants to let us know, please let us know about the honor system. So
Yeah,
the
there
way
is an
that
honor system.
the way that it works here is the more honorable you are, you can get cheaper prices with some vendors. People will speak to you differently. That kind of a system is obviously not innovative or new for video games. It's many video games have done.
standard, and yes,
Yeah,
this
many
was-
video games have done something like that before.
They had it, and you would like unlock a special horse or a special outfit if you
really?
had really low honor or really high honor.
Well,
Okay,
that's not have been
so the
as
honor
prominent.
system returns.
Okay.
To Red Dead. The thing that I am kind of annoyed with is that I feel like I have to spend so much time building my honor one little like plus cowboy sign at a time, And I'm trying to do everything I can to build it. And all it takes is one story mission where I'm forced into doing something because of the way the story mission is playing out. And then it's like negative, 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 negative. And I'm like, that's really frustrating.
Wait, really? Because I haven't noticed that in a story mission where you're docked points for that.
Maybe you haven't gotten to the missions I've gotten to. We'll have to talk afterwards so as not to spoil anything for anybody who is listening or watching. But what the real point I'm trying to make is that it feels like overall, outside of like maybe some conversational options and a couple of like discounts, like again, that don't matter because there's not much to buy, is that like, what's the point of it? Is this just there to help you make decisions about how moral you want Arthur the outlaw to be? Because at the end of the day,
he's an outlaw.
He's still a cold-blooded killer.
So yeah,
that's why I don't feel bad about it. Even though it's like looting a body that you didn't kill loses you honor.
Right.
Like, what are they gonna do with it? It's mine. Like,
yeah, and that's weird. It's like I shouldn't be docked unless. If you want to go way out there, the family of that deceased stranger, which are the people you get docked for, it's like, oh, they're valuables. They want to be buried with their valuables. I don't understand that. I feel like if they're dead, like they don't need their cash. They don't need their 50 cents.
Exactly.
They're fine.
I will take it.
Yeah.
Right, but like you're still stealing from the dead.
Who cares?
Listen,
They're
it's the
dead.
Wild West.
Clearly people care.
They're dead. They don't have an opinion.
I'm with you. I don't care, but other people care. My point though is this is just yet another system that has no weight within the gameplay ecosystem, right? Like it's like so far like the making money, like what's the point? You can't really upgrade. There's no RPG element, right? You can't upgrade your guns or buy more powerful guns.
Buy more horses.
All you can do is buy more accoutrement for your gun. So like, oh, I've got a fancy leather wrap for it.
That was a very sexy word.
Accoutrement.
Well, I mean, I bought it in Saint Denis, so you know. You can buy a special wood grain. You can like cut your horse's hair in a specific way and dye it pink. Or
I have a pretty braided tail.
Yeah, so I don't know because I feel like most people I've talked to have been an honorable Arthur Morgan. So I don't know what the negative sides would be. Is it like Renegade Paragon and Mass Effect? I don't know.
No, I don't think that the effect is as
Have
divisive.
either of you made it though to like the peak of either?
So what I've read
Obviously, you guys didn't make it.
Sorry,
to the
is
end.
that
I'm almost all the way to the right. I'm close.
I'm like I can't seem to get like I'm at one point and I can't seem to get further to the right than like where I'm at. And but I mean I'm very very far.
It might be a soft cap based on where you're at in
honestly,
the story.
I think that's what it is. But what I have read is that the further left you are, you have many more bounty hunters that are coming after you. The law is much more sensitive to what
you do.
That's what. Yeah, exactly. To what you do, and that you always have.
So
bounty
you're gonna
hunters
get
after you.
heckled more.
And actually, I'm thinking about it again. I read IGN's review, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who reviewed it, but he did say that he feels like the hard mode of this game is when you're super bad and on the very very far left.
Because everyone's always after you.
Everyone's always after you. Everyone's coming trying to get you.
Well, as it should be, right?
Yeah. But that's the only thing I've really read.
But it comes back to the idea that even if you're bad, like the idea of being bad, hopefully you're not just being bad so you can like just murder people. The idea of being bad, I would imagine, is to like murder people to get their loot.
Right.
But again,
sometimes they just are annoying.
No, but yeah, that's true. But the loot system in this game, it just feels like all the loot's so worthless. And that's the thing that's really frustrating to me is that it's like, at first I was like, man, I just killed like 20 bounty hunters who all came after me and I don't have time to loot all these bodies before the next lawman comes after me too. But then I'm like, but do I want 5 more silver brooches? Do I need another platinum like wristwatch? Like I'm gonna sell it for another $7, but then what am I gonna do with that money? I feel like the whole economy just doesn't have any payoff, and that's frustrating because at the end of the day I go, what am I actually doing here? You know, and that's why I've been trying to focus more on the story now and kind of be like, I have no desire to do all of these extra hunting missions, all these extra bounty missions, because I'm like, what's the point of it all?
There's no payoff.
Right. I want a payoff, and I'm not getting it. And maybe somebody out there, or maybe one of you ladies, can explain to me like what I'm missing or what I'm not seeing of what the payoff's supposed to be.
Like what I said earlier, I don't feel like I'm in a rush. I feel like this is the game I've been waiting for, just to sink all my time in, to do all of the unnecessary hunting, all of the unnecessary things, and I say unnecessary in terms of it's not going to impact your
right.
the story. It's just something you do for fun because you enjoy doing it. Now, going into this, I didn't really have a game that I was super duper into, something that was keeping my attention. Now, I know, Andrea, you have Destiny, you have Odyssey that you love. Do you think you loving those games, do you feel like Red Dead is taking away time from those games? And maybe that's impacting the way you feel?
Well, 100%. I mean, but like the idea that if I had nothing else to play, then I would be cool to play this game is like, that's not a good selling point,
But I don't
right?
know if it's so much that as much as it is, like I said, I feel like this is just something fun for me to do because I love doing it and I'm having a great time doing it.
Right. No, and I think this, what it comes down to is just this different style of gameplay preference.
Exactly.
Right?
Like 100%.
And I was talking about this with Greg because he's been playing as well, and I was just like, because he also isn't like really kind of jiving
It didn't
with
click
it.
with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think what I'm just looking for when I sit down to play a video game is something that feels action oriented, something that really is stimulating and has a lot going on and has a lot for me to do. And this game feels like it's so deliberately slowly paced that it wants you to slow down.
It does.
It really is telling you, hey, take a breath, maybe just walk around. And like that's what I think is such an amazing part about this game. It just means that I'm not going to spend as much time in this game as maybe a lot of other people are. Because like some quiet moments that are great are like when I'm out on my horse, traveling between destinations, when it's becoming sunrise, and I'll stop and just look and watch the sunrise in the game, thinking of how that's like such an amazing moment, and how like even when I'm like in the real world, like as Andrea, not as Arthur Morgan, how that moment being there by yourself in those quiet moments has like a special effect on you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really special and what's really grabbed people about this game is that kind of forced atmosphere that so many other games are like, hey, instead we're going to give you a bazillion things to keep you occupied and kind of manage your ADD.
Yeah.
And I'm having trouble because my personality style is that I'm always like what's the shiny thing? I need to have the thing. And like that forced
not there.
slowness is just something that I'm like, I can't deal. It makes me anxious almost.
I totally get it, and that's kind of what my hunch was. We were texting about this game earlier, and your first impressions like weren't super grabbed by it,
Right.
and that for me, you know, I like that slow pace. I love that it forces you to kind of stop and just chill out and think about, what am I going to do? Am I going to go hunt? Am I going to go fishing? I've spent hours just hunting and fishing in this game, and just exploring and doing nothing.
I mean, I could play poker in this game all day.
There you go.
I mean, like, the card games are fun.
I think, like you said, it comes down to preference. You know, if you love Grand Theft Auto, that doesn't mean you're going to love Red Dead Redemption, obviously, because
they're
very
two wildly different games. Yeah.
And, you know, this game does something for me that few games do. And, like, I always go back to Story of Seasons, Harvest Moon, which are some of my most cathartic, relaxing games ever, is I like that feeling of, like, what am I going to do? I have no pressure. Am I going to go hunt today? Am I going to go fish? Am I going to go do a mission? Am I going to go do the side thing? Am I going to explore this, like, uncharted area? And to me, that is so relaxing, and it really engages me in a way that most games don't. I've literally dreamed about this game every single night since I've started playing it. I woke up a few nights ago with my hands like this trying to mash square, like, 'cause I was like in my head and I'm like, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. I have to tell this story on the podcast. And so few games do this, and I think the last game that may have done this for me was Dragon Age Origins, and before that maybe Breath of Fire 3 on PlayStation. Very few games get me in this point, and I think it's that forced relaxation that you were talking about. How do you feel, Steimer?
I mean, I think it's interesting, especially because I did come off this game. I didn't finish Odyssey yet, but Odyssey, you zoom out and you see fucking everything, right? Like, you know everything that you can do, and it's
Daunting
at certain points. And so then to look at the map in Red Dead and almost feel the opposite is sort of an interesting dichotomy there. And so, like, it's, for me, I'm enjoying it because I like that change of pace. I obviously loved Red Dead Redemption, so it makes sense. Like, I'm like, yes, I want to ride my horse around. Again, I do think that they should have maybe addressed a few quality of life issues, i.e. if you do the loot animation a couple of times, it just knows to then do the game thing where you just pick it up. Also, again, the fast traveling thing, like those are my main issues. Otherwise, I love this game, and I think I'm going to spend a lot of time in it. I don't know that I will 100% it just because time.
Yeah.
I feel like I had more of it before when I was younger. I don't know what's happening. But
Life, man.
I know.
Life's happening.
It's crazy. But like there were definitely times when I was like, you know what, I'm going to go look for a horse. So I went and I looked for a horse because I was like, I don't want to buy a horse. I want to go find a horse. I want to find a horse and ride it. That's mine. And so I did. So like I went out and I finally found a herd of horses. It actually didn't take that long. I was like, well, herd of horses, great.
Okay, perfect.
Had to grab the one that is now my horse a couple of times because she kept getting away. But then again, finally tamed her, took her back to the stables. It's like, you mine. Put the saddle on you, braid your tail, let's go. Named her Roach.
I stole a horse from
Aw.
some bandits, named her opponent. She's my best horse ever.
Yeah. What
Zelda.
do you know what kind she is?
All I know is she's a workhorse.
She's a Shire?
Yeah.
She's like a
yeah, she's a big horse.
Okay.
Oh, my Shire got killed.
Dude.
What?
Yeah,
No, okay, I have accidentally
was
fallen
so
off cliffs with my
sad.
horse.
there is
all
horse
of them have
permadeath
always
in
lived,
this, and
but
it's
yeah.
awful. If you don't have horse revives, you have to
It's
kill your horse.
especially awful if you come across an instance in the world accidentally where there's like a gang fight or that you get ambushed and you get shot like 2 or 3 times, then you're dead and your horse is gone. It's frustrating because like it feels like
Wait, you
combat-
dying doesn't.
Sorry, is that bothering you?
Yeah. You dying doesn't kill your horse.
No, but like they obviously shot my horse too.
They
Right.
never shoot my horse.
No,
they know better.
I've accidentally shot other people's horses. I never
And then
tried to shoot the horses,
Yeah,
but
I've
like
done that
thing for
before,
animal
too.
cruelty. But no, I came across a gang that like I feel like shoots my horse on purpose. I'm like, you're an asshole. But something I want to talk about too is something I really appreciate about this game is in the campfire discussions. If you decide to pay attention, Rockstar touches on some pretty deep stuff. Substance abuse, mental illness. It's like
they talk
Damn.
about the women's right to vote.
Yeah.
They talk about the Ku Klux Klan. They talk about being black in America and slavery.
Yes.
They talk about Native Americans and what happened to them. They talk about Mexican and Mexican Americans. They really do, I think, their due diligence on making sure to acknowledge that while this is obviously set in, you know, the late 19th century, near turn of the century, that these issues are there. I wish they would have gone a bit further. I think that this is incredibly smart of them to at least acknowledge all of these issues in a game that could have easily just been like we're white cowboys in the West and probably still would have been just as popular. But in a time where diversity matters and representation matters, I'm glad these issues are in there. I just wish they would have made more of a stand or made them more prominent in the game.
Yeah, this sounds like a good topic for a spoiler cast. So we can talk about certain
Yes,
missions.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's because, you know, back in those days, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but I'm sure, you know, mental illness wasn't something that was widely touched upon.
I don't think you need to be an expert to say that. It's barely touched upon in 2018.
No, that's very true. I'm talking about like back then especially. But yeah, you're totally right. And to see, you know, someone struggling with substance abuse and one moment their hair is frazzled and going in a million different directions, and then later on in that day their hair's come back and they're like, I don't know why I do this, I don't know what I'm searching for, I need help, something's not right. But then that night and every night thereafter they have a bottle in their hand and they're struggling with substance abuse, and it's like, damn, you know, it's really well done. I've seen a few missions, but again, spoiler cast material, where it's like, oh, that was I won't talk about it in specifics, but last night I experienced a mission that was one of the best missions I've ever had in a video game, and it was so moving, and it was related to one of these issues, and I was like, they did that. That's fucking awesome.
We'll have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's see if I've done this mission yet. Ladies, we could keep talking, and we will keep
Continue.
talking about Red
Yes.
Dead Redemption 2. Obviously, you guys are all getting it in your hands. This weekend you're going to be playing for the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, maybe the next couple of years, depending on how invested you get in Red Dead Online. But there's more to say, And clearly we will do a spoiler cast at some point in the future. Probably will be quite a ways in the future because we want to give everybody time. This is a long, slow, deliberate game.
Yes.
So don't rush it. Enjoy it. Have fun. Pet all of the doggos.
Oh, I petted a doggy.
And they
It was
wag their little tails
great.
when you pet them. It's so cute.
Oh, it's adorable.
Yeah, take care of your horse and give them all the pats and the apples.
Oh my god, that's like all I do now is just
Click all
pat
three.
and brush my horse. Like,
You're doing good, girl.
I just no.
Or do you have a boy
legitimately.
horse?
Oh, you get off and curry comb them, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was so I was like, are there only boy horses? Like I just felt like I kept finding only
Males,
male
yeah.
horses.
Boy.
And then when I lassoed the one, I was like, come on, girl. I'm like, oh, I got a girl. Finally, I got a girl horse.
Yeah.
It's great. The game is really, really well done, and despite the fact that we clearly have some pain points and some annoyances, I don't think any of us can say enough at the magnificent work that the team at Rockstar Games
Oh, no. Yeah.
did with Red Dead Redemption 2. So clearly a lot more to say. We hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. If you guys have further questions, I know we didn't even get to the Dear WGG questions tonight, and that's 100% on us, and we will save those. We will answer them next week. So don't worry, we have a document. They didn't disappear. We will get to all of those questions and more. And we hope that you guys will join us tomorrow if you're listening to this in time on October 27th for our streams, and we'll have an update for you on what happened at TwitchCon next week. Until then, have a fantastic weekend, everybody.